Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you sound.
Oh yeah, let's go. Welcome in the Front Yard Fantasy Morning. I am here, joined by my good buddy. How you doing today, Coop?
Phenomenal. How are you?
Phenomenal. Pretty good. Until the intro started counting down, I didn't realize that my audio was not set to the right setting. I was doing a little mad mid-intro dash.
A little mad dash. I was doing something similar, except instead of messing with my audio, I was trying to have as many bites of my bagel as possible before.
What kind of bagel?
Sesame. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff.
Sesame is the second best type of bagel.
So, sesame to me is like
locked in.
Yeah. Sesame to me is like a step above plain, and that's very consistent. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't miss, but it also doesn't go hard enough. There are there are bagels that take it to another level. What's your tier 1 bagel?
Everything is top tier for me. But you're right. I think sesame, my issue with it is that exact thing. It's just I love it. It's just not quite enough. Not quite enough. as much as everything bagel. So I don't typically get it, but I'll switch off between the two. That's how it's like 1A, 1B type of thing.
Like I'll grab a bag of sesame bagels to have at the house because it's like that we're at home, we're just being normal. But if I'm at like the airport and I'm looking over, just being conservative, But if I'm
just being normal, Americans.
Right. But if I'm at the airport, maybe going on vacation, dude, feeling a little frisky, and I'm looking over the bagels, like I'm not gonna pick a sesame. I want to pick like a jalapeno cheddar or like
just grease up the bag.
Yeah, just getting nasty with it.
Just get nasty in that bag.
Yeah, just getting slippery up in there with my bagel, And I don't think sesame bagels can quite get me that level of debauchery that I need from an airport bagel. So
I mean, not the same as jalapeno cheddar, that's for sure.
No, dude, not getting chedded up, not getting cheesed up the way you do with some of those other ones. So looks like we got some folks in the chat joining us this morning.
We got Craig in here said, my.
Oh my.
Look at these thirst traps on the screen on Thursday.
Oh Lordy, look at these.
Lordy.
Look at these tasty morsels on this Thursday.
These tasty morsels. And we got Tommy in here said, life is precious, as all of us know. Thoughts and prayers to Foster Moreau. Short and sweet. I love it, Tommy. I love it.
Possibly your best poem, man.
Possibly your best work yet. And that is a good segue. I think it's that time. Bring your own breakfast, where you bring your breakfast. We bring the news and the weather. We should also our own breakfast.
We'll mention quickly what Tommy's referring to those that don't know. And this type of stuff, there's two ways to look at it. Obviously, getting bad news is the worst. But at the same time, like, because of what this guy does for a profession, they were able to catch this quickly. Foster Moreau, in doing his screenings, he's a free agent this year. So doing his screenings with new teams, they realized that he unfortunately has Hodgkin's lymphoma. So he's going to step away from the game, start treatment immediately. But, I can't help but immediately think of the flip side, where it's like a lot of people don't go see the doctor as much as they should, right? They definitely don't get as intensive screenings as they should. So, like I said, on the one hand, it's obviously awful news. But on the other hand, it's kind of a blessing that, he works in a field where they scrutinize your health, and they were able to find this, and they're hopefully going to treat it. And if all goes well, maybe he'll be back playing football someday. Obviously, his health is first and foremost, but we're pulling for you, Foster. So, obviously sending good vibes to him and his family this morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is bad news. Always bad news, but we are right there with you, Foster, giving you support here from FYF.
The FYF community. So
FYF community. There's some other big signings, Coop. We got a bunch of big news. Felt like a little second wave yesterday.
yeah, we got some names sneaking on in there. Before we get to the signings, though, I think we should talk about the big boy maneuver.
Ooh,
The
big boy.
Elijah Moore traded from the Jets to the Browns, and the compensation suggests that not only the Browns but the Jets also believe that this is a good player. So, typically what happens in the NFL is if a player hits, he goes for more than what he was drafted for. If he kind of has floundered, then he goes for a lower price than he was drafted for. Elijah Moore was drafted in the second round, and he was traded here for picks 42 and 74, which, the way I look at it, that's more draft capital than was spent on him in the first place. So it sounds like the Jets think this is a good player. He's just not really a good fit for them. And the Browns clearly think he's a good player. What do you think, Jail? You think Elijah Moore is worth picks 42 and 74? Or sorry,
Yeah.
it's pick 42 for Moore and pick 74. So it wasn't him for
They're
two picks.
swapping. They swap.
Yeah,
picks.
so that actually, that I had it backwards. It actually works the other way, where the Jets are saying, "Hey, we've spent the second round pick on this guy, but we're willing to give him up for less." So sorry about that. It's actually the other way. So Elijah Moore, they're kind of cutting bait, saying, "See you later."
Yeah, I mean, all of these just issues between Elijah Moore and the New York Jets definitely reduces his value, right? Like, they know he's not going to play. Everybody knows he's not going to play. So that gives leverage to these other teams, to the Browns, take advantage of the situation, take advantage of that lack of fit there. And I like this move for Elijah Moore. He's about to be we were just talking about who's going to be that number 2 on that Cleveland offense. Elijah Moore all of a sudden popping in there with, he's going to have Deshaun Watson back there throwing to him. And all of a sudden he's going to get his shot to shine. So this is his moment now, right? This is what he was fighting for, was super upset about.
Yeah, but when I was talking about this team this offseason, I was like, maybe they should sign like a Paris Campbell. Like he went to Ohio State and the fans would love him. They went above and beyond that. The rumors are that they were in the mix for Jerry Jeudy as well. They were talking about Jerry Jeudy. They're talking about Elijah Moore, trying to find that slot wide receiver. And those are much bigger names than Paris Campbell, in my opinion. Right.
Yeah.
So I think they found their guy. The real question for fantasy football, since we do like to talk about the fantasy implications, here's what it boils down to. Amari Cooper is going to be your split end. David Njoku is going to be your tight end. Those guys are paid a lot of money. They're probably going to play 90% of the snaps. With Elijah Moore now, the question is, he's going to play slot, but what type of slot wide receiver is he going to be? Is he going to be a full-time receiver that plays the slot for 3 wide receiver sets, then moves to flanker for 2 wide receiver sets? Or is he just going to be a pure slot guy and come off the field in 2 wide receiver sets in favor of Donovan Peoples-Jones and Amari Cooper? The examples are a guy that just plays slot and comes out nowadays is Tyler Boyd, right? Because they have T. Higgins, they have Jamar Chase. So he's only playing like 60, 70, sometimes 80% of the snaps if they use a lot 3 wide. On the flip side, the guys that play slot and then switch to flanker are some of the guys we like best. We're talking Chris Godwin. We're talking Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen. Like, that might be the best role in fantasy football because you don't have to play split end and you get to stay on the field. So we'll have to see what happens there. But, I mean, if he does get that role, the ceiling is high. On the flip side, when I tweeted about that, Donovan Peoples-Jones' uncle immediately popped on my timeline and said, Donovan Peoples-Jones is the number 2 wide receiver. So you're going to have to decide whose word you're going to take for it, Simon. I don't know. Do you believe that John Peoples on this one, or do you think Elijah Moore is now the number 2 wide receiver?
I think they don't have to be in a rush to make Elijah Moore the number 2 wide receiver, but the draft capital they traded shows me that they intend on making him the number 2 wide receiver. That being said, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. There were obviously issues in New York. We're hoping that it was a team chemistry issue and that with a new location, he's going to be able to work it out. But that's still to be seen, right? But there is value in that role in this Cleveland offense. That wide receiver 2 role is open. We saw Donovan Peoples-Jones have some fantasy relevant weeks this season. If Elijah Moore shows up and does what I think the Browns are expecting him to do with trading a second, even though it's just moving down 30 picks, he'll be the number 2 by the time the season rolls around.
Yeah, I mean that's generally how he's gonna. And we say this about the draft too, which is why draft capital is so important. When you spend on a player, the owner, the GM, they expect you to use that player. So he's going to get first crack at the, or he's going to get a fair shot, right? The first round pick guy always gets the biggest shot to get it done before they go away from him. So if they're gonna trade a second round pick for this guy, you better believe that he's going to get a chance.
At first, I looked at this and my immediate thought was like, I know they're different players, but why a second for Elijah Moore when Brandon Cooks was out there going for a 5th and a 6th? Like, why that trade? But then I look at it, and Amari Cooper isn't on the world's cheapest deal, and that deal is coming to an end in the next, I believe at the end of next season. Elijah Moore is still on his rookie deal, right? So while they still have Amari Cooper, they've got Elijah Moore on his rookie deal. And then this could be life post Cooper for the Browns if it works out. It makes sense. I'm more comfortable with this trade. I think it makes sense given the Browns' position to go for a guy like Elijah Moore instead of a guy like Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. And Craig says, who is the 1, 2, and 3 wide receiver of you 3? I would say that Simon is the split end, keeping us tethered, keeping us on track. JL is the star wide receiver that comes in playing flanker. And I'm the slot wide receiver that doesn't play a full snap share because he goes to Europe for like a month at a time every once in a while.
I was going to say 1A, 1A, 1A.
1A. I mean, in terms of targets.
One of those, 1A, 1A, 1A situations.
I'm like the Dennis Rodman that just disappears for a week at a time. But,
You're the guy that goes off the baseball field that I taught us about during that one thing. Wait,
here's a fire.
Fire truck.
Here's a fire truck, and he misses in an inning and a half.
Huh?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Somebody hear the wheel?
I might be the diva wide receiver of the crew, but the TO.
There was something I was going to say, but I was muted, and now I can't remember what it is.
Something about Elijah Moore. Something about
Cleveland? It was about Elijah Moore.
Did you hear
Simon,
a fire
you
truck?
had mentioned you said you mentioned it was they had to give up the 2nd round pick. They really just swapped picks back. So I don't even know that it wasn't like a pick for Elijah Moore straight up. It was even cheaper, which is I think a nice aspect of that.
I still think it costs more to go from a 2nd to a 3rd than to trade a 5th and a 6th altogether. Like, I think that drop from 2 to 3 is worth more. So even though they just swapped back around, like, I view this as giving up more than was given up in the Brandon Cooks trade. If that makes sense. Right? There is, like, I feel like the talent drop off isn't linear from round to round. It gets steeper and steeper as the rounds go on. Maybe leveling out at a certain point. I don't know how much of a difference there is between a 6th and a 7th round draft pick.
So in my opinion,
1 round.
I mean, like, if you want to talk mathematically speaking, it does get steeper the farther you go because of the compensatory picks. So in the first 3 rounds, the 5th pick of the 1st round, you can compare it to the 5th pick of the 2nd round. But after the 3rd round, there's sometimes 10 compensatory picks, especially with like the 2A resolution rules now, where if you lose a minority coach, you automatically get a 3rd round comp pick. Like, so last year, for instance, there were 10 picks. So a guy picked in the beginning of the 2nd round could go legit 70 picks before a guy picked at the end of the 3rd round. And each round, as you add those 10 picks on, now, the 7th round is almost the 9th round. So it definitely isn't linear. We know that. That's
Absolutely.
Math. That's math.
We got Albert in here saying, "Good morning, everyone." What's up, Albert?
What up, Albert?
Welcome in, my
Morning,
friend.
brother.
Good to see you.
So yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
This is I don't know. This is the really big news coming out of yesterday. I think there's maybe some bigger news, but I did find this one interesting, and I want to get your opinion on it, Coop, because I think it's interesting. We got this headline in praising Steve Belichick. Devin McCourty was speaking about the unintended truth about NFL nepotism. This is an article on Pro Football Talk where he is McCourty, who's now retired, when it was going on to talk about how Steve Belichick really just got so many opportunities just by being son.
Yeah. So I did see this. I don't think the thing is McCourty is looking at it from a player standpoint, the way you would treat a player, right? Where he's like, McCourty's looking at it almost like, yeah, in 1 year, Edelman had to play cornerback because everybody got hurt and he didn't know how to play, but he gave it his hardest. Like that's how McCourty thought that this sounded, but we're talking about a coach. So when you have Steve Belichick, Steve Belichick 1 year was told 2 weeks before the season he was going to be the defensive backs coach, and he walked into a locker room that had Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung and like Razai Dowling, and McCourty is older than Steve Belichick, and one of those guys in the locker room he played with at Rutgers. Steve Belichick played with at Rutgers. And he walked in that door and he said, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I just got told I was coaching you guys. So let's figure this out together. Like that. So from a player's perspective, he's like, oh yeah, this guy's a coach. And I admire his toughness, like figuring it out on the fly. But to everybody else, we look at that and we're like, the only reason he got that job is because his dad's the boss, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think that, like, if you're a good enough coach, it doesn't matter? I feel like what position you're coaching, but at the same time, had he proven that he was a good enough coach at that point, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to say.
No, I mean, I think even Steve Belichick, based on the way he went about not knowing what to do there, sounds like he would even admit, I got this job solely because of who my dad is. Know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound like he's sitting there trying to pretend this isn't nepotism. Now, that doesn't mean he can't become a great coach. That's not taking away accomplishments from people, but it's recognizing that opportunities are not evenly distributed in NFL coaching searches. Now, that being said, I feel like very recently we've seen two examples of staffs that have not gone the buddy method. The Carolina Panthers right now with Frank Reich really don't seem like they're hiring Reich's buddies. They're hiring a staff of some of the most competent coaches that they think they can find. And then it seems like Dable did a similar thing. It wasn't just buddy, close to Dable connected coaches. They were coaches picked from all over the place. So if these experiments work out in Carolina and New York, if we see New York continue to make these playoff runs, maybe we start seeing more GMs and more owners pressure their coaches. Hey, don't bring all your friends with you. Like, build me the best coaching staff.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's how, if you really want to go there, that's how JFK built his cabinet. He was like, for real though, he was like, I'm not bringing my buddies. I'm finding the smartest people in the world, in this country, and I'm bringing them in and just finding a spot for them. Like, that's how he found like Robert McNamara to be like the head of the State Department. Like, he was working at like Ford Motors, and apparently he was just like a genius. So JFK was like, let's go. Rather than just,
hey, wise guy.
Right.
Hey, wise guy.
Rather than some of these guys that come in and they just pick one of their friends and like, you're a brain surgeon. Why don't you be the head of housing and urban development? Like that, which actually did happen. Right. So so, hey, I definitely prefer the part where you just give the jobs to the best and smartest people, where Belichick to one degree has done both. Like with Matt Patricia, that guy is incredibly smart. He's a rocket scientist, so he just finds a job for that guy. On the flip side,
he at least went to the school for it.
He went to school for it. But on the flip side, you have him giving a job to his son when he doesn't know what he's doing. So we'll have to see if it evens out in the end.
Tommy in here in the chat says Steve Belichick. Nice.
That was disgusting.
That was pretty gross, dude. I will end this topic by saying that McCourty did come back at the end of that to defend him by saying, you know what? He did figure out, and he did an amazing job coaching us, especially against Tom Brady, where we had arguably our best game. And, apparently the game plan and everything that Steve Belichick worked up was a big part of that. So he did defend him in the end, but I don't think McCourty came off the way you thought he was when he was telling this story.
Nice. Earndog in the chat says counterpoint. Does Bill Belichick even know that's his son?
I mean,
It's a good question.
If not, then why the hell did he make the weird guy sticking his tongue out, the linebackers coach that one year? Or sorry, defensive backs coach. If he doesn't know that's his son, he's just like, you need to fill this position right now. Give me that weird effort that's always sticking his tongue out on the sideline.
I mean, dude, look around the league, bro. Look at some of these coaches. Jonathan Gannon, Mike McDaniel. I mean, the weird is the new cool as far as coaches go, dude.
Well, then Belichick is what's a stereotypical example of cool?
King guy.
King cool man.
If weird is the new cool, then Steve Belichick is Denzel Washington.
Okay, there we go. That's a name I was trying. All I could think of was Mick Jagger, but I feel like that's a little dated as a cool reference.
You just went to the Jonas Brothers lyric or whatever it is.
Or the real person Mick Jagger, but maybe I got
Isn't that a whole song? Yeah. Like cool, like Mick Jagger.
If we were
Jagger.
Maybe we should do
that's what it is.
Maybe we should do a draft. Next draft we should do coolest dudes. Right.
Is that the subset of Tim's idea of coolest things?
Coolest people.
Stuff.
Who would be some of the people that would go in the pool of coolest dudes besides Mick Jagger? Keanu Reeves might be 101. He's a
cool dude.
He's in my conversation for 101. Like he literally just hangs it. Like he just does dope
Melissa McCarthy
movie and rides motorcycles.
Melissa McCarthy's a cool dude.
Cool dude.
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher. That's a cool dude.
Cool dude.
What about like Derek Jeter?
Barack Obama. Cool
Derek Jeter, Barack Obama. We got all these cool dudes.
Maria said Maroon 5. I don't know if
Maroon 5.
I don't know if Maroon 5 is on that list.
I think she was saying this song, not Jonas Brothers. It was a Maroon 5 song.
That's what it is.
Oh, I know.
Said James Bond.
Definitely cool.
Yeah, but can you pick fictional dudes? Because then the whole list
fictional.
Sorry, it's.
I just wanted to challenge the fact that you said James Bond was fictional. There's nothing more to that.
I had nothing to say. Like if you're gonna be picking fictional dudes, they'd all be fictional. I'm trying to think who else. Justin Timberlake.
Anthony Bourdain was a cool dude.
Yeah, like
you throw him on the list. How long can we name cool dudes for until Keith shuts us off?
Yeah, Keith.
Not Keith. Cool dude.
Cool dude.
Ernie.
And then
cool.
Ernie.
Dude.
Cool dude.
Yeah.
Also, Tim said you're trying to tell me Keanu Reeves is real. Get out of here.
That's true, dude.
Yeah, but cool dude.
Cool dude.
Very cool dude. Speaking of cool dudes, Mecole Hardman. Signed with the Jets. Okay. Filling in that spot, Elijah Moore left. The hole left by Elijah Moore. How do you guys feel about this, Mr. Speedster?
I think it was Joey who said it best yesterday that now Aaron Rodgers is going to feel really at home because they just have a room of guys and Garrett Wilson. Yeah. Like it's Garrett Wilson and other. Like it's very familiar territory for Aaron Rodgers here.
Yeah, I mean, here's the way I look at it. Even if they were to release Corey Davis, they have Garrett Wilson and Allen Lazard, which say what you will about Allen Lazard, but virtually nobody besides maybe DK Metcalf has more end zone targets over the last 3 years than Allen Lazard. So it's just with Lazard and Garrett Wilson alone, it's just not a good landing spot for anybody else. Even if Corey Davis is there or not. So I'm not interested in Mecole Hardman at all. And I wasn't before, so it's fine.
Ouch.
Sorry, Mecole.
Real.
Sorry.
No, I tend to agree with you though, Coop. Maybe he'll have a game or two. Like, don't get me wrong. For fantasy, he'll have a week or two that's probably where he's the guy. He's the one who ends up in the end zone. But I'm not getting hyped for this. I'm not getting excited. I'm not jumping out of my britches to draft him 5 rounds earlier than I was before. These britches are staying on.
We could just slap the ultimate cop-out label on him if you guys want and just say maybe in best ball. You want that's the ultimate fantasy cop out. Maybe in best ball. Like that's literally that's what if I say maybe in best ball to you on Twitter, what I'm actually saying is leave me alone.
This should be a tier of player. Like it's like the can't be bothered to even put the effort into thinking about it because it's probably irrelevant for fantasy.
Maybe in best ball.
Exactly. Like if I say I like him in best ball, that means that it actually is like an explosive field stretcher that is going to be boom bust. If I say maybe in best ball, that means shut up.
It means like Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell, exactly.
Yeah, maybe in best ball.
Literally, I just said that on Twitter yesterday about Tutu Atwell.
Maybe that's why it was in my mind.
Why am I only thinking of Rams wide receivers whenever I think
They're
of
all
Did
perfect.
you go to
All
Van
perfect.
Jefferson next
Yeah,
to?
and then I went to Ben Skronik.
They're all perfect. Yeah, you go through the list there. You could put even Allen Robinson in that list.
My favorite part about this Miko Hardman signing on Reddit, on the thread on Reddit, is the top comment here. This guy says, "Who are the Chiefs wide receivers at this point, lol?" And then the first reply to that is, "Doesn't matter. Kelsey is always open."
It's true. So they have Tyreek. Oh, wait, no, Tyreek Hill is gone. So they've got Juju Smith. Okay, wait, Juju Smith is just gone. They've got Miko Hardman.
Simon. No, it's not. That's 3 bongs, Simon.
You got this, buddy.
You got
Marquez
this.
Valdez-Scantling. Is that the only living wide receiver on the roster? And they got Sky Moore over there too. But
Casquarius Green Jr.
That is pretty. Yeah, that is pretty. It's pretty alarming. They got to go. You think they'll go? They'll target a wide receiver in the draft, first round, is what I meant to say, not just the general draft.
Potentially, they are. We've seen them do this before. The Chiefs are one of the teams that generally has the ability to use their first round pick as a luxury pick. They did it with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We'll see if they do it again.
Just burn that pick. They don't even care.
No, just get a new toy for the quarterback.
Tim Wright bringing up an interesting name, Justin Ross. I actually just saw a clip of Justin Ross running up a hill that was posted. Which
how do you look?
You're a sucker for an off-season exercise clip.
I was like,
That's a big hill.
Look at this boy. It wasn't even that big of a hill.
His legs appear to be working.
But he did. I will say this: his legs are working, which that was a problem for him. He also has a bigger problem. He has a congenital spine issue, and it's one that is because we've seen guys play with it before. Not the same exact one. We've seen guys play with spinal stenosis, which that's what Michael Irvin had. That's what David Wilson had, and you can play for a varying degree of time. This one's actually slightly worse than that, where your spinal, like the discs kind of like fuse, makes it kind of dangerous. No one's ever been cleared to play with this, though the Chiefs believe that he can play. You guys know probably better than anyone else how good this guy is when he's at his strength, right? Because at Clemson, he was I've seen some catches by this guy that made the ball look like what were those like little the ones with the tail on them, the vortex
balls.
He's catching the ball like it's a vortex, just like bang, like it's a. So I mean, he's a fun player to watch. I just worry that. I wonder whether it's worth it. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. There were, like you said, Coop, there were worries and reports that he would never play again whenever the news of this came out. But
when the news of this came out, he was a first round. He's projected to be a first round pick.
Yeah. Now we're talking about him playing, but if he's out there training, I'm in his corner. That would be a sick story to watch this year. I would love to see Justin Ross come out. And that wide receiver room's relatively open. You're telling me MVS and Sky Moore are an impenetrable wall on that starting front for wide receivers?
Kadarius Toney, we forgot to mention.
Kadarius Toney, he's going to be trying to smash through that wall as well, get on the field every snap. He might have already beaten out Sky Moore.
I will say with Kadarius Toney, if you look at, there are some metrics that the metrics hawks happen to love, which the behind the they swoop in, they're like
metrics,
every step on target. But like one of the ones that they love is yards per route run, which measures how it's a good measure. It's a good measure of your usage, especially when you have limited snaps, because the top guys are all over 2 yards per route run. And then anything up close to 2 is pretty good. There are some guys that at times can hit 3, which those guys are just absolute monsters. But Kadarius Toney led the team in yards per route run, 2.15. And basically the idea of metrics like that are you take those metrics and you pour some more extra snaps on there, and now you have a fantasy relevant tree that grows from
a little bit of snaps, a little bit of pineapple snaps.
You put some snaps on there, dude, and you got a fantasy relevant player going. So that's the idea with Kadarius Toney, is that he is very efficient with his limited snaps, and if he gets more, maybe he'll be good.
Maybe. The Chiefs are his oyster.
And then Albert says, watch the Chiefs trade for DeAndre Hopkins, which would immediately vaporize everybody on that team besides DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce. And that could happen.
And that would be sick. That would
Yeah.
be so great.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal. Instead of every week being like, can I start Juju? You have to start Juju. You got to start Juju. Like, that was the game I played every single week this year.
I love that, like,
It'll work out.
we're just like, deep down, I'm supposed to be a Patriots fan and you're supposed to be a Browns fan, and your Browns are supposed to be competing with the Chiefs, but you're still just like, yeah, but
Send
that would,
D-Hop there.
you're like, yeah, but that would be so cool, right? Like, it would be.
Honestly, it would make more sense for you to be unhappy about it. I'm just realistic. Like, competing with the Chiefs, not really.
I mean, neither are the Patriots at this point.
You're right. We can just enjoy the Chiefs together.
Yeah,
Let's get DeAndre Hopkins and Saquon Barkley on that team.
my boy's
Ooh.
got a legacy to defend. My boy Tommy. So that's what we're kind of rooting for.
Did you bring up DeAndre Hopkins from Albert's comment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was from Albert's comment or you're just saying that as an extra.
Yeah. Yep.
No,
was
we
on-
even said Albert's name and
I
everything.
even said Albert's name. Yeah, that was
Great
on
job, Albert.
this show. That was
So proud of you.
this show.
Also, Craig said, I thought Coop said Diedrich Bader, not Derek Jeter, whenever we were naming cool guys.
Who's Diedrich
Drake
Bader?
Bader.
American
Sith Lord.
actor and voice actor, comedy centered and voice acting related
Oh,
roles
yeah.
of the Drew Carey show and Beverly
Carey show.
Hillbillies.
Yeah, he's way cooler than Derek Jeter.
Wow. Nice pull, Simon.
He was
Yeah,
in
I knew that from the
Napoleon
top of my
Dynamite.
head.
Who was he in Napoleon
Diedrich
Dynamite?
Bader, what a cool dude.
Yeah, what a legend. So yeah, he'd probably go in the first round, somewhere in between Denzel Washington and Justin Timberlake.
Well, speaking of Diedrich Bader, an entirely different guy had to give comments on why he picked the team that he signed with. Juju Smith-Schuster was asked what enticed him to sign with the Patriots, and he had 3 words. It was Belichick. So he said he wanted to go play there because of, I'm assuming, Bill.
It's only one word.
It was Steve Belichick.
The words "it was" were his words as well. The quote
It
started
was
immediately
Belichick.
after.
Okay, I see.
The quote started
It
immediately
was
after 3
Belichick.
words. It was Belichick.
I got you. That's a funny way to deliver that line, though, on his part. 3 words. It was Belichick.
Hey, no, I said the 3 words part. He didn't say the 3 words part. He said,
I have 3 words for you.
I'm gonna kill
Like
you.
that's like what you would say if you were like lying on the ground with like stab wounds, and somebody comes in, they're like, "Juju," and he goes, 3 words. It was Belichick.
I'm gonna kill you guys. We haven't commented on the actual thing one time. Just okay,
911.
I've got one more thing to say.
He said it was Belichick.
You forgot the beginning part of the 911 call. I have 3 words for you. Okay, Simon, we'll stop now.
Don't stop. Keep it going.
Don't
For
stop.
the full quote, he said, "To be honest, it was Belichick, man."
Ooh, that's
That was a-
to be honest.
That makes more sense, yeah.
I 3 words was fully
like
a flourish
7.
on my own part.
So it was 7 words.
Yeah. I
So he's lying on the floor covered in blood. I have 7 words.
to be honest, it was Belichick. Man.
This really hurts.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's like he's a great coach.
Yeah.
You know that. What can you say?
And he's played against him. So Juju's been on the other side of the field playing against him. He said it was a coach he respected whenever he's played against him, and the opportunity to get to play under a coach like that is one that he couldn't really pass up. I'm also sure the money and the lack of other wide receivers on that team made it an attractive landing spot too.
And people act like this guy is just like a jerk and like all the players hate him or whatever. But go like watch the clips of him talking to DeAndre Hopkins, and they're literally saying like, "I love you, man," and like you're the greatest. And watch the clips of him talking to Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson.
I don't know if Bill Belichick is that nice to everybody that he is to DeAndre Hopkins.
To legendary players.
It feels
Yeah.
like he kind of has just like a soft spot for DeAndre Hopkins.
Have you ever seen that clip? It's legit.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
They played on Hard Knocks.
he's like, "What a career you're having, man!" And he goes,
Yeah. He's like,
you
"Right
miss
back at
half you miss half the season. You're probably still going to lead the league in yards, right? Like, so yeah, I guess you got to be that good. Hey, but maybe Juju is that good that Belichick had a lot of nice things to say.
That is honestly one of my favorite clips.
It's a good one.
Just because of how like pure it is, and you can tell they both are like smitten with each other, but they don't really know. They don't really know how to communicate it.
Right.
So it's just like the cutest little interaction.
It is like one of those like, no, you.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of playing it cool, but they're having a really sweet moment, and they're both they're kind of accepted, letting their guard down a little, but it's still two cool dudes.
Yeah.
My favorite DeAndre Hopkins clip is still the one with the Cardinals wide receiver coach, who is Van Jefferson's dad. It's not. Yeah, the Cardinals wide receiver coach when DeAndre Hopkins was on the Texans, and he goes, "Just so you know, man, I think you're the best wide receiver in the game." And DeAndre Hopkins goes, "I know." And then they keep Hopkins is mic'd up, so he goes back to the sideline and he's talking to the other wide receivers, and he goes, "Yeah, that's what he said to me. You're the best." And I said, "I know." That's my favorite Hopkins clip, dude. I know.
God, I love that dude.
Yeah. What a beast. I know. Yeah, what a monster.
We got Dustin in here saying, "What's up? What's up, Dustin?" And then wants to know, Coop,
Dustin?
we expecting big Pats news today. Is there some big Patriots news cooking, Coop?
Steve Belichick replaces Bill as head coach.
I think he's talking about today when the Patriots trade. When
For Lamar Jackson,
Steve Belichick gets on the mic and says, we just traded for Lamar Jackson and Jerry Jeudy and DeAndre Hopkins.
Just traded for Lamar."
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for that news. Dustin, if you have other news, let me know what that might be.
And if it's related to Lamar.
Steve Belichick, man, that would be an all-time great press conference if we got that moment. Woo! Well, that was what I had to say about Juju Smith-Schuster.
Three words.
Hope you 3 words. Hope you do well on the Patriots, and good luck with Steve Belichick, my friend. Man.
Guys, I saw on Reddit that somebody put a visualization together comparing all of these scoreboards of each NFL franchise, and that Keith's got it for us.
Ooh.
Let's get it up there.
Get it on.
Oh, I don't know if you can even read that.
I can kind of read that.
Oh, I can see it.
I bet it looks
Who's
bigger.
got that little guy down at the bottom? The Commanders?
So the very top one's got to be Cowboys.
The very top one's Falcons.
What?
Falcons
ATL,
massive. Yeah, and then Rams, Chargers, then Patriots, then Jaguars, and then Broncos is that last blue one there at the top.
The Patriots
and then the very bottom is Commanders.
Yeah. So what does blue versus gray denote, JL? Do you know this?
I don't know. That's a good question. That is a good question. I don't know.
One's powered by electricity and one's powered by magic?
That must be it.
So why is the Rams Chargers one so round? Oh, does it go all the way around the outside of the stadium, the top part of the stadium?
I think this is their actual shape. Ben's super.
Oh, so the whole thing
is circular.
Oh well,
not the outside of the stadium. It'll be in the middle. Like it hangs from the middle of the stadium. The scoreboard in the center, the Mercedes-Benz one. Yeah. I don't believe it goes around the outer perimeter of the stadium.
I'm not gonna lie. I just before looking at this visual, I just assumed, they're probably all big. They're like close. That sounds bigger than the other ones, but they're all probably around the same size. But looking at this visualization, the Commanders versus the Falcons makes it look comical. Makes it look like a little toy.
Based on what I know about the Commanders, that's on purpose so that the poor people can't see the score. They probably put the little itty bitty scoreboard near Dan Snyder and his little rich friends, and then they stand up there and laugh at all the poor people squinting, trying to see what the score.
The Michael Scott plasma.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's going on.
I always thought the Cowboys was the biggest, not just because everything's bigger in Texas, but because every once in a while a punt will hit the scoreboard. Have you guys ever seen that?
It's probably just poor engineering.
Yeah.
Like
It
probably
definitely
just
is.
a bad design. Not the biggest.
Yeah, they're just like get it up there in the middle. I want it in the middle. That's why it's so big. Is that the other ones I feel like wrap around the stadium or on the side, whereas the Cowboys is on over the middle of the field, where it can be hit by punts.
I wish that you would work in some sort of like pinball mechanics into it. Like if you punt it straight up into the middle of the bottom, all of a sudden confetti shoots out.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick. Like mini golf style, where it goes up in there, but then it can come out any direction.
Any direction, yeah. You get like two X points or something.
That'd be sick, dude. Why haven't we thought of that?
Here's the pitch.
That's more of a in football. The state, like the fields, at least have to be one way. That's more of a baseball rule where you can have sorts of crazy stuff.
But here's what we do, Coop. We set it up so that it's 2 football fields that are perpendicular. And then it can shoot out any of the 4 directions, and you have 4 teams now facing each other.
Oh, do you have to go to a specific end zone, or can you score in any one of the other 3 end zones?
You got to go to a specific one.
Ooh.
And it changes every time you score.
It rotates in.
So
Every time you score. I like that.
That'd be so sick having to like, so you could, if it changed and then now you're like here, but you have to score in this end zone on the right. You've got like guys that have to run up and then over, but you can throw it across.
Like throw it over the corner.
Dude, this sounds terribly dangerous.
Sounds very expensive to put to even play the game.
Sounds pretty space intensive.
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. See it happens.
Okay. Keith,
can you make
it
that happen,
happen.
please? Thank you.
yeah, get that field set up. Hire a set of professional players to play along with us, and get a
tomorrow.
film crew out there. Yeah, tomorrow morning, please. 6
Thank
a.m.
you.
Central Time.
Maria left. She said, "Peace out, cool dudes."
See you, Maria.
Bye, Maria.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Enjoy school.
Goodbye.
Tim said, yeah, the scoreboards are outside the stadium, so everybody but the people at the game can see it.
That's right, dude.
Yeah, why would they need to see it if they're watching the game?
Yeah, you're already there, idiot.
Yeah.
The guy on the corner has no idea what's going on inside the stadium.
All those people selling the illegal merch outside.
There's some good illegal merch that gets sold
There
on
is.
game days wherever you go. Like they always got something like a little bit off base, just like right outside the stadium.
Right. You can't quite use the team names, but you know what it is. Right?
The Baltimore Oreos.
Yeah.
Oreos. Yeah. That was one of my favorite part about going to Orioles games growing up was the walk to the stadium. Get like the peanuts, you get the merch. Now I don't do that.
Now I roll.
Now I buy the expensive merch inside.
And the expensive peanuts inside.
Inside.
That's right.
I don't eat street peanuts anymore. Just kidding.
Get out of my face with your street peanuts.
The best peanuts I've ever had have been
slapping
peanuts.
Just pick it
peanuts
up.
out of people's hands. Peasant.
they just bought it next to me. They just happened to be walking by.
But you also happen to be at a Texas Roadhouse, so it's totally okay that you slapped it onto the floor. It's fine. They're just going to get some more.
They're like, oh, wow, okay.
So I actually really like the Texas Roadhouse. I don't know about you guys. I think that's a top tier chain restaurant.
I've been like 2 or 3 times, and every time something weird's happened, so I generally just avoid Texas Roadhouse.
No.
Describe something weird.
Yeah, give us an example.
Okay. Disclaimer.
A
This
dude slapped all the peanuts out of my hand on the and he said, "He called me a peasant."
He said, "We got the mile."
Steve Belichick. What happened?
I've told you the story about how I accidentally went on, this was 8-9 years ago, on a date with 2 different girls from the same sorority in the same day. One lunch date, one dinner date. They found out, revealed it to me. But one of the things that they then did is I was meeting up with the other one for lunch again the next day. And in walks the other girl, sits down across the table from me. And they think it's freaking hilarious to have both of them show up at lunch at Texas Roadhouse. But now, like, I'm the asshole who went on a date with both of them. Of course, I'm paying for the entire thing. Know what I mean? Like I'm the idiot who made this situation happen. So they were comedians about it. But that's the last time I've been to a Texas Roadhouse.
I don't know that was Texas Roadhouse's fault.
Were you able to swing one of them? Did you do like a little?
No, I just got extra rolls and called it a win.
I think that's
some extra takeout.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a power move on there. But they kind of Chris Hansen you a little bit.
Oh, 100%. 100%. They won that interaction.
Yeah, Aves goes humble brag.
Absolutely not. Those were 2 of my 3 Tinder dates ever.
I just love how the text wrote us. You can go in and they have like the case with all the steaks in it, and then you can pick the one that you want, and they put a little like number there, and then you give the ticket to the people. You're like, here you go, and then they go and get the steak, so you can find the one that's like marble, nice, looks like the one you want. I don't know, dude.
That's special to you.
I think that is kind of special. It's kind of like the supermarket, except at the chain restaurant.
At the not supermarket.
Exactly. That is
the
special.
only time I want to pick something out of a case is if it's a dessert, like cake. Like show me a case of like pie. I'll take out a slice. I don't want a case of meat.
The case at the Cheesecake Factory.
Mess me up. I'll stand there for hours.
At any diner ever.
Oh my God. The Marietta Diner. Shout out Marietta Diner. You guessed
Diner
it.
desserts?
In Marietta, Georgia.
They got those little they have those like cookies that are delicious that have all the sprinkles on them. I don't get it.
Also, Dustin in here giving us a warning saying I would skip the hardwettle today. Coop could do it, but it was hard.
Ooh,
ouch.
I love that response.
Oof. Also, Easy A said, you guys get dates on Tinder?
Yeah. But why don't you guys should do the hardwettle today to just you two should do it to prove Dustin that
So here's the problem.
I gotta prove nothing.
We could just as easily prove him right.
I guess
If
that's
not
true.
more easily prove him right.
Sure.
Like
But
this, I've got plausible deniability that I absolutely can solve it no matter what.
So you guys are electing not to run the 40.
I'm not running the 40 today.
That's honestly that's the smart move. We've seen it time and time again. Hey, guess what? Speaking of guys that didn't run the 40 at the combine, elected not to, Jackson Smith-Njigba put on the cleats that he likes to wear on the surface that he likes to wear at the Ohio State Pro Day yesterday and ran a 4.5 to great applause. And everyone said he's the wide receiver 1. So guess what? Not running the 40 at the combine works just fine.
Yeah, but it probably hurts his feelings because I saw like one report about Jackson Smith-Njigba from Pro Day, and then about 4,000 scouts, analysts, reporters, coaches, and other players just salivating, drooling at the bit for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
It's all anyone can talk about after that Pro Day is Marvin Harrison Jr. and how like he'd be number 1 wide receiver if he was draft eligible today. He's maybe a top 5 draft pick next year.
If I was JSN, I would have been like, dude, can you just take the day off, man? Like, this is my day. Why is he going out there as a sophomore doing the Pro Day?
Just showing him what he's got. Just humbling JSN. He's like, oh, JSN, number 1 wide receiver. Watch this.
Yeah, I mean, he's like Marvin Harrison Jr. is like 6'3", 6'4", 211, 3 touchdown games, 300-yard games. His dad is a Hall of Fame wide receiver. It's like he goes to a prestigious school. Like, you can't miss. I mean, he's about as can't miss as you get, right?
Yeah, he checks all of the boxes that NFL teams are looking for, every single one, down to the story with having his father be a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
I think that there are times where that's important, honestly, because some of the, like, at least like, assuming, his father kind of led him the right way, like that he knows what it's like. He's been around that stuff his whole life. They say it about Larry Fitzgerald, where his dad was a beat writer and he would hang out with the Vikings when he was a kid. And then when he got to the league, he knew exactly how to act. Sure enough, he plays until he's 75 years old. So I don't know. There's something to be said about that. The guys that know how to act and act like you've been there. Top 5 pick. I like the sound of that. To the Patriots. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but
it is.
But it is.
But it is.
Yeah. I love the idea of like the Patriots picking the sons of like their rivals, and then now they have to root for the Patriots. Like this year, I want the Patriots to pick Joey Porter's son, Joey Porter Jr. Is like and he's a cornerback that would fit our scheme too. Like I'm just like, let's pick him and make Joey Porter root for the Patriots. That'd be great. Just like Rex Ryan's son. Just start picking like all the like the rivals' kids.
Everybody's kids.
They changed the name of the team to Bill and Sons.
Yeah, let's get Arch Manning, right? Like let's just get them all and then make everyone change their tune. I want to see Peyton Manning in a Patriots jersey.
Bill Belichick's plan is to just collect the Hall of Fame on the sideline via their children. Like you just one by one start drafting Hall of Fame children and then get their dads on the sideline.
Yeah.
Next level strategy.
Not just any Hall of Fame kids. Like they had to have played for a team that doesn't like the Patriots. Like I want Steelers
So
kids.
31 other teams.
I guess that's true. I'm trying to think of who our least rival. I feel like we have like a bit of a bond with Cowboys fans as like just hated. Like everyone hates
Two
hated
bullies
teams.
become friends.
I honestly think that's a little bit of the case. Where like I kind of like Cowboys fans. I'm like I know what you're going through.
Hey,
over
you're mean to people.
Man, everyone's
there. Yeah. There's a
they
subreddit.
hate our championships and they're so mean to us.
Just what $100 bills.
6 rings.
Yeah, there's a subreddit called the Evil League of Evil that is exactly that. It's just like it's Patriots, Cowboys, 49ers, Steelers fans just in there being like, everybody hates us because we're the best.
Speaking
Yeah, that's why.
of Harrison, this is a segue. It's just a segue back to, I guess, what we were talking about. But Jordan Reed from ESPN put out a tweet yesterday about him saying, quote, like window shopping at a Lamborghini dealership for the model that doesn't come out until next year.
Wow.
And saying that was a text from an NFL scout that he got at Ohio State.
Dude, I would have texted him back immediately and been like, so what is JSN, a Subaru?
And he would have been like, haha, good one. You would have reacted hard.
Yeah, well, I guess. Well, I mean, it does tell us one thing: that guy doesn't think that Jackson Smith and Jigma is a Lamborghini, or I guess or maybe an old model.
Yeah, this year's model, even the current model. He's saying like he didn't even say that he wasn't the current model. Just they had a sneak preview of next year's model there, and holy cow, he can't wait for that one.
He good.
Yeah, it truly seemed like every other tweet I was seeing was about Marvin Harrison. Jill, another one that I thought was funny, Albert Breer had some quotes from the Ohio State Pro Day from NFL coaches and personnel guys. These were reactions. Incredible. Really impressive. Unfortunately, not draft eligible. He looked like a dude and LOL.
LOL.
I feel like that one speaks so loud. Like if somebody asked, like if an NFL scout was asked, how do you feel about Marvin Harrison? And they just said, LOL. And walked away. Like, dude, like don't ask stupid questions.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. He's perfect.
So good. We got a little bit of other minor news yesterday regarding quarterback Russell Wilson from Ian Rappaport. He said Russell Wilson had arthroscopic surgery on his right knee after this past season, and hopefully it'll be fixed. They are expecting him to be back and ready, like full ready to go by OTAs. So minor news, but something to keep an eye on.
They say it was something that was bugging him for the past couple of years. He's had decent seasons and bad seasons with that. I can't imagine it was the only thing causing him to play poorly last year, but it definitely didn't help. So new coach, new knee, new Russ, who dis? Let's go.
Russ, who dis? New phone. I take little stuff like that and put it in my bag of tricks if I'm arguing with anybody, and just like, well, he had a hurt knee, right? So
he had arthroscopic knee stuff.
They scoped
the coach of the Atlanta Falcons, arthroscopic.
Yeah, Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith. He had an Arthur Smith knee. All right. Well, you guys going to get into the Weddle?
What a transition. All right, let's do it, baby. Also, Craig said Russell needs to get right, all right.
All right. I like that. And I missed Easy Abe saying draft Bart Scott Jr. Can't wait.
Bart Scott Jr.
Bart Scott Jr.
House of Tank
That's a perfect one. Does the LaDainian Tomlinson have a kid? Just anybody that's ever cried about the Patriots. I want to collect their sons. Collect their firstborn.
One other thing I'll add about Marvin Harrison is just in one of the Reddit threads, one of the many Reddit threads about him yesterday, I found just a gaggle of Bears fans just dreaming. Like they were having like a collective daydream where they were just building off of each other, having Justin Fields throwing to DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. starting next year. Like it was like 15 of them just like going back and forth, like, oh my God, imagine. They'd be like, imagine Moore and Harrison Jr. And then someone comes in like, I think in that case, it would be Harrison Jr. and Moore. Absolutely. And then they're like, oh, right you are, fellow. Like they were having a good old time in there. And you know what? It's a time for optimism, my friends, Bears fans. That was he had some rough moments that season.
Good for them.
Enjoy it. You guys ready to get into that, Weddle?
Yeah.
Let's guess some players. For those of you who have not played us, we're going to guess NFL players, trying to find the one secret guy. And if we don't find that secret guy before 8 times of guessing, we lose. If we do, we win.
And we like winning.
And we like
Sure
winning.
do.
Coop, who's that name?
So let's start with Austin Hooper, because that was some news that we were supposed to talk about, but then we didn't. Austin Hooper signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now they have Austin Hooper and OJ Howard. And the good thing about that signing is we never need to think about either of them ever again for fantasy football.
And complete analysis done.
Yeah. Nice little wrap up with this signing.
Yes.
Close the book on that one. And what we know from guessing Austin Hooper here is that this guy's tall, but not that tall. He's 6'2" or 6'3", not a tight end. Old, at least 31. The number is much higher than 81. And they are not in the AFC.
Okay. So this to me, guaranteed. So it's a wide receiver. We know it's a wide receiver because
That's how I'm feeling as well.
There's no running backs or quarterbacks that are number 80 or 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not a tight end. And there's no running back that's 6'2" or 6'3". It's called Derrick Henry, or that's it.
Right. Weddle is not updated yet. So it
So we
still
need
says
an
Tennessee.
NFC. We need an NFC wide receiver, yeah, because it says Tennessee.
Yeah.
Or it's not that it hasn't
and
updated. I think it's because they haven't signed the official
Oh.
deal. Weddle updates when it's official that they're on the other team.
Also, he's older than 30, which there's
Yeah.
not that many wide receivers that are 30 plus. There's enough.
What about Cooper
Adam
Kupp?
Thielen?
Cooper Kupp?
Adam
is
Thielen,
one?
I think, is his number 10.
He does have a low number. It's
Cooper
not
Kupp?
10. It's not 10, but I think it might be 18.
Let's try Cooper Kupp. What do you think?
Let's go for
What
it.
number is Cooper Kupp?
10.
10.
So in Ethan.
Yeah, I just found out. And Cooper Kupp is incorrect. But good news. The height, exactly right. This player is 6'2". They are not a wide receiver, though. So we were barking up the wrong.
Possible.
It's probably a quarterback would be my
A
guess.
high-numbered
6'2" is
quarterback.
a,
No quarterbacks that are number 80.
do we know that?
It could be a high-numbered
I
quarterback.
mean, it's got at that point, it's that or a running back.
I don't think it's a 6'2" running back.
There's no running when you can't wear 80 with your running back.
Are these the new rules, Coop, or
So
are these
you
the
have
old
just simultaneously said that it is not a running back for sure because they can't wear that number, and
looking
not
at
a
my-
quarterback for sure because they can't wear that
But
number.
it has to be.
So I'm just going to tell you somewhere you are incorrect.
You got to revisit your logic,
It's-
my guy.
It's probably what number is Taysom Hill
Not
wear?
a running back. Not a
What
quarterback. Not a running back. Not
What
a
number is
quarterback,
Taysom
not
Hill
a
wear?
running back. Taysom Hill's not a quarterback.
What is why is 40 stick out? That's not right. I don't know what Taysom Hill's.
Is it Felipe Franks?
It might be Felipe Franks. You want to try Felipe Franks? Is he NFC?
Go with Taysom.
He's not even in the system. Oh no, he
Taysom's
is.
not 6'2" or 30. This
Franks
guy's also 32 or older.
Franks is too young. Franks is much too young. He's
Yeah.
not 32. Blaine Gabbert, is he an old guy?
He's
Yeah,
he's the AFC. No, what?
He's NFC. He's on the
NFC.
Bucks.
All right, yeah,
He saved some people from the ocean.
He did.
Blaine Gabbert, but he
Let's
doesn't
try
wear.
Blaine Gabbert.
He's not like 85. He's not like number 85.
Okay, so it's not a quarterback. So we know this is a 6 foot. Is this Derrick Henry?
Is this a fullback, dude?
This is Derrick Henry, isn't it?
Wrong. No, because Derrick Henry's the
AFC.
Oh, you're right.
Is this Cordarrelle Patterson?
Is he 6? He is. He's a converted wide receiver.
Yeah.
Coop, I bet it is.
Oh, and he's
Patterson.
85. or
It's
80.
definitely Patterson.
It's gotta be
It's
Patterson.
Patterson.
What a loophole,
Oh.
there, dude! Ridiculous business to put Cordarrelle Patterson as the player, number 84.
84. Yeah, that's a good one. Good, nice pull.
Also,
Oh.
Justin, this
32.
might have been helpful if I would have seen this hint. You are on the right train with players who have changed positions.
Oh yeah, to me, we're too good at this.
Choo choo.
We're too strong. We're too strong.
Man, even when our second guess is Cooper Kupp, whose number we knew was 10, we still got it in 4 guesses. We can't be stopped, baby.
We're too good.
Except by the hard weddle on days whenever Dustin says don't do it.
Yeah.
That can probably stop us. Well, guys, coming up,
Yeah.
we got some more games heading your way. We're going to play a new game called Riddles Ridiculousness. And then we've got a post-mortem we're going to give on the Carolina Panthers. Talk about this past season that they had. We're going to play some hypothetically as well. And then we've got brackets with our friend Moody. You're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
As a longtime baseball fan, here's my message to other baseball fans, to steal a line from the Packers' future Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Everyone needs to relax after what we saw this past weekend as spring training games out in Arizona and down in Florida got going, and we're inching closer and closer to Major League Baseball opening day. The rule changes in Major League Baseball is not for myself. It's not for you out there, the hardened baseball fan, whether you're a fan 5, 10, 15, 30, or even 50 years from all around this great country. It's not for those that are going to be locked in. It's for trying to generate more fans. So if they want the pitcher to go out there and work in rhythm with a guy on base, begin to wind up within 20 seconds, nobody on base, begin to wind up within 15 seconds, or have the batter make sure that he's back in the batter's box within 8 seconds, then making the base pass first, second, and third bigger, eliminating the shift. All of this is to make the game better. We've seen leagues, whether it be the National Football League, do they get to the same league as it is today in 2023, or what we saw in 2022 as it was 30 years ago? No, it's not. Is NBA basketball the same? No. How many games do you see being played? 83-79 finals. You don't see that at all. So every league adjusts to try and bring what? More fans into the sport. And that is something that Major League Baseball is going out there and trying to do. I've been critical at times of Rob Manfred, whether or not as a MLB commissioner, whether he likes the sport based on some of the rhetoric that he has spewed in years gone by. But I got to be honest with you, as a longtime baseball fan, I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. Watched a ton of Met games here in the tri-state area. Watched baseball all around. Can't wait for October baseball. Think it's absolutely unbelievable what is transpiring now and what's happening now, and the rule changes being brought about baseball. It's going to bring back to the game to when I became a fan, where the stolen base was something, moving guys over was something, having men on base, batting averages ascending, not being an all or nothing league where either you're striking out or hitting the ball over the fence. And that is what baseball is trying to do. So as everybody tries to adjust, and change is difficult, whether you're changing your diet, exercise routine, changing your relationships, changing a job, change is different. I get that. And it's hard. But let's take a step back. Let's understand what Major League Baseball is trying to do here. And they're trying to repopulate or repopularize the sport. That's what they're trying to do. They're clearly the third most popular sport in the United States. They want to make it less regionalized. This is the way they need to go about doing it. I'm all for it. For more content like this, download the Bettor Sports Network app or go to bettorsports.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. We are about to get into a new game, Riddles Diculous, and our friend Joey is going to be joining the show to play along with us. I hope Joey's wearing a gray shirt today. He looks extra sexy in gray whenever he is. Just makes me want to snuggle him. Oh, yeah, every time he's wearing a gray shirt, I get a little bit of
gray.
Yes,
man.
What's up, Joey? Welcome in, my friend.
How we doing today, boys?
Doing good. Doing pretty well. What about you?
Good.
I'm doing great. Actually, I'm doing great. My youngest daughter, who the FYF crew loves, Eliza, had a little bit of the tummy trembles last night and puked everywhere in the house.
Oh, no.
Tommy,
So she's home from school today, but it's all good.
She did too much thinking about Tommy Tremble now that they signed
I don't
him
know.
nursed.
She told me that a girl threw up in the school yesterday, and then I was like, no, this is
Here we
She's
go.
like,
here we go.
Everybody's doing it.
And you're like, yeah, if she jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge at home?
So
Before we get into this, just real quick, I wanted to mention this kind of on a personal side. I just posted something on my Twitter. Anyone that follows me, if I've ever helped you with anything, if you've ever got advice from the show, I don't ask for much in terms of like Venmo or Patreon or any of that. But my wife's cousin just had a house fire if I've ever helped you out with any fantasy football stuff, if you could just throw a couple bucks on that. They lost like pretty much everything to smoke damage. Luckily, there was an off-duty firefighter in the neighborhood that was able to get there and get their pets out. So like, can't ask for much more than that, but they lost a ton of stuff. Her husband has like all this like guitar memorabilia and all this irreplaceable stuff, which I mean, there's nothing you could do about that. But if anyone can contribute anything to that, it would really mean a lot. My wife's cousin Krista. So thank you, and back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Absolutely, and that's on your Twitter, Coop.
Twitter. I just tweeted out at Coupe Fiasco, and again, like $1, a couple bucks, anything that you could throw their way. It really does mean a lot. It would mean a lot to me.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're about to play a game that we call Riddlesdiculous. Riddlesdiculous is the name of this game, and I absolutely nailed it that time. And the concept's simple. Contestants have to solve riddles. If they solve them, they're getting a point. If they don't, they're not. JL, any rules I'm missing?
Nope. That's it.
Are there any steals in this game?
Yes, this will work similarly to the same mechanics as some of our other games, where we'll go in order. You'll have an opportunity to guess at the riddle, but if you don't get it, your opponents can steal it.
Goes to the next person in line.
Goes to the next person in line. Yep.
Makes sense.
All right, Joey, you're starting us off on this
Let's
one.
go. I was about to take a sip of coffee, but no time for that today.
You
How
can
dare
sip
you.
your coffee while you hear this nice riddle I got.
I don't want
for
to be
you.
distracted.
No,
Oh,
hey,
play along in the chat, everybody. We're going to close the comments so that we do not see unless we want to cheat. So throw your answers in there. We'll shout you out if you're right.
coffee
the record.
is for closers.
Coffee is for closers. For the record, I don't get comments anymore. When I get my links, I don't have the comments, so I can't cheat. So these are legitimate wins when I come on here, which probably explains why I never win.
there you go. That explains it.
You got to find a new way to cheat.
Yeah, you're not so good at the
I missed
cheating.
I usually a dame a week at 3:00 in the afternoon for the 3:00 show, so that's how I was winning so much over there. But she's asleep. This early,
Sometimes
so.
she wakes up for the show.
She don't miss.
She gotta start
Towards
waking
the
up.
end, though. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Joey. Here's your
Yeah.
first riddle.
Let's go.
Tall and slender, we oversee. Triumphant boots that make points 3. Between our arms, the orb must pass. Identify these guardians of the grass.
I got to hear it one more time.
Yeah, one more time.
Tall and slender, we oversee. Triumphant boots that make points 3. Between our arms, the orb must pass. Identify of the grass.
I think I got it, but I missed the mechanic on guessing.
Yeah.
It's Joey. It's Joey's turn, and then it'll
Yeah.
pass in order.
I'm thinking it's a type of a tree that incorporates basketball. I have no idea.
Would you like to take a guess, Joey, or would you like to pass?
I'd like to pass.
Pass. All right, Coop, you are up next. Would you like to take a shot?
Is this? I'm thinking boot and kicking and 3 as in 3 points and the orb going through being the football. Is this the goalposts?
Mm-hmm.
Coop going with goalposts, and that is correct.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Nice
Way to
job,
solve that
Coop.
riddle. Simon, you knew that one?
I got that one.
That was a nifty riddle.
I heard you.
Field goalpost is exactly right. Joey, are you kicking yourself now? Does it make sense?
I mean, field goal post is not a name of a movie, so I'm not really kicking myself very
That's
hard.
true.
So.
That's true. Najee
You haven't seen
Harisky
Field Goal
business.
Post? 1997? Eddie Murphy?
Great film. Eddie Murphy and
Goalpost.
Kevin Costner.
It was
Man,
phenomenal.
that's a movie that never happened that needed to happen.
1997 Eddie Murphy and Kenny Costner starring in a sports drama.
Kenny
Kenny Costner.
Kenny
That's his
Costner.
rapper
Kenny
name.
Costner.
Kenny Costner.
Kenny Costner.
Oh my god.
He wears
Kenny
nothing but
Costner.
Keds and spits sick bars.
Earn Dog in the chat got this one. Eberil got this one. Tim also said field goal post. And Nick in the chat said goalpost, bruh.
There you go.
Bruh. 3
Goalpost.
words.
3
Field
words.
goal
Field goal
post,
post, field goal post, bruh.
Can you change your YouTube name? Because it's supposed to be E. Averill. But
E. April.
E. Averill. But so in the Bettor Sports chat we call him Easy Aves, and then he goes in YouTube for
Easy
some
Aves,
reason, and he's Averill. Like figure it out,
Yeah.
Averill. You're
Let's just
actually
call him Eves.
Eves. Yeah, let's call him Eves.
Ooh,
Eves
I
or
like that.
Aves?
Nah, let's call him Eves. just because
All right.
he asked for this.
Remember
This is
Eve
your
Levine,
fault.
the UFC referee, Eve Levine? Remember him?
Eve, let's call him Eve Levine.
Eve Levine. All right. Coop, well done. You stole that point from Joey, and this next one's yours. If I can pull it up. All right, here it is. The threshold crossed amid fans' roars, where teams earn points in sets of fours. A chalky strip the turf divides. What am I called where victory resides?
Did Tommy write these?
No, Tommy did not invent rhyming structure. Turns out.
I don't know, dude.
Shakespeare wrote these, you idiot.
He didn't invent
Yeah.
it. Pretty Shakespeare, Tommy. What's
You don't
the
recognize this from Othello?
What's the difference? Can we hear that one more time? There's one part that's throwing me off.
Yeah.
The threshold crossed amid fans' roars, where teams earn points in sets of fours. A chalky strip the turf divides. What am I called where victory resides?
Dude, so the sets of fours part.
That's what's throwing me off.
throwing me off, but I'm still my brain will not allow me to guess anything other than this. So I'm going to say the goal line.
Goal line is correct.
Hey,
Coop,
what's the
double
sets?
win.
What's the
Double
sets of
point.
fours?
Four.
Sets of fours. I don't know actually.
Came into that all smart, and then you realized it doesn't make sense.
well, you see, the thing about it is,
That reminds you of the video of the guy who's like, this sign over here says $1 for an hour, but when I pay a quarter, I only get 15 minutes.
I like that guy.
I like that.
Can I
I'm
use
not really
that?
sure what that
That's
means.
good.
Yeah, go for it, Joe.
Thank you.
Oh, well, you see, it's wrong.
Well, Coop, that's going to put you in the lead 2-0. Simon, this next one's yours.
I figured out the sets of four. If you go for two, it's 8 points. That's 2 sets of 4. It's the only place on the football field where you can score points in what could be considered a set of 4, which is 8.
Oh, that makes sense.
No.
It's math. Joey rejects the math.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. And Ease in the chat said 4 quarters.
Okay.
Could be referring
I'll
to
accept that. Not Simon's math thing.
You would not accept that one.
Not the first time.
Ooh, where should we go next on this one? Let's go with this one. All right, Simon, your next riddle. A cunning architect of turf and field. In stratagems, his wisdom sealed. A sextet conquered, foes left to check. Unravel this leader, initials B&B connect.
Yeah, this is Bill Belichick is the answer to this riddle.
Man.
It sounds like it.
Bill Belichick is correct.
Really?
Yeah. I barely had time to even put that one in the chat.
I didn't even really understand it, to be honest.
A cunning architect of turf and field. In stratagems, his wisdom sealed. A sextet conquered, foes left to check. Unravel this
Super Bowls.
leader. Initials B&B connect.
So we knew it was a coach from the first 2, right? Like a stratagem of turf and field. And then they dropped the 6 Super Bowls on us. And then give us the initials. Billy B.
Billy B. Billy Big Dogs.
Billy Big Bad.
Simon,
No
that's going
one's
to put you
stealing
back in
my
this
points.
contest.
I was out for a second, but here I am.
But here you are.
Welcome home.
Welcome home. All right. Ooh. Yeah, we're going to go in snake order here. We're going to switch it up. We're going to go snake order. Simon, you're going to go again.
Ah,
Yeah. Let's see. Let's move that one over. We'll go with this one. All right, Simon. Actually, we already did that one. Not that one.
so had I missed the
Bill
last
Belichick.
one, would I have stolen my own?
Is it Belichick again?
Yeah. That's how it would have worked.
Beautiful. Let's go.
All right. All right, Simon. Your next riddle. With colors bright, I stand sentinel, marking zones both end and central. 4 of me guard the battleground, where touchdowns and points are often found.
Is this the pylon?
Is correct.
Ooh,
Mm.
okay.
Why did Simon not get the sound?
Because I didn't do it in time, Joey.
That is a word that always feels like I'm saying it wrong.
Pylon.
Pylon.
How do you
Pylon.
spell it?
Pylon.
Pylon.
It's quite a bit. It is quite a bit.
It just sounds incorrect. It sounds like one of the letters is wrong. Pylon.
Pylon.
Do you mean
Pylon.
pylon? No, I mean pylon.
It sounds like a brand of Tupperware.
Sounds like
Pylon.
a type of snake.
It sounds like the name of Tupperware specifically that Napoleon Dynamite tried to run over whenever he was trying to sell it door to door.
Yes.
That's the second Napoleon Dynamite reference today. Very good.
Is
It happens.
What was the first one?
First one
Diedrich Baber.
is in. Yeah.
Oh, that was a Napoleon Dynamite reference.
Yes. It
I almost
is.
entirely forgot that part of the conversation.
And I don't want to interrupt, but now I am seeing what Dustin had referenced earlier in the show about potential Patriots news, and that's because former Patriots quarterback Scott Zolak predicts big news in the next 24 hours for the Patriots. And you might say, who cares? Former backup quarterback Scott Zolak. So Zolak is, for those that don't know, he is very plugged into the team. He actually calls the games on the local radio. So if you listen to the Patriots games on the radio, you're listening to this guy. And he has a show every day from like 1 to 3 on the biggest radio station in the area, the biggest sports radio station in the area. So this guy, when he says something like this, it usually means it's happening. So now I get what Dustin was saying about big Patriots news, and seeing who it's coming from, I actually think that there probably is going to be some big news. So keep your ears to the street on that.
Coop, what do you think it is? What's the first thing that comes in your head? Like fast guy, quick time.
First thing comes to my head, offensive tackle signing. One of the biggest, either a trade or the signing of the best offensive tackle out there. The big Patriots news is like middle of the road news for everybody else.
So you're not feeling Lamar.
I mean, that would be
Hopkins.
Dude, Hopkins would be amazing, man. I've already seen since this came out. Now that I'm looking at it, people are just posting that picture of the guy at the Hertz rental and saying, I just saw DeAndre Hopkins at Logan Airport. But yeah, I don't know that. I mean, who knows? But I don't think it's gonna be that cool.
Yeah, I just saw a little smoke on the D Hop last night. They were sharing that video of Belichick and D Hop on the sidelines together.
I've watched.
We were talking about that earlier.
I've watched that like 100 times this offseason, just trying to manifest it. I'm just like,
manifesting works. It really does, guys.
Do you think? I mean, so
what's the last thing you manifested?
Joining the team at FYF.
Destiny. Wow. And look at you now.
Here we are.
And look at you now. You're sneaking sips of coffee, even though we told you not to.
Yeah. Bad joke.
This is pure gin.
Like, oh, okay.
He's a closer.
You can drink. You can drink gin.
Joey's the closer now. He's transitioning.
Yeah, I'm the closer.
Yeah.
I manifested that.
You distracted me with that. You distracted me with the DeAndre Hopkins to the Patriots, thinking you could
see how I just took the show over and I was the one asking the questions.
You did, and then you took a sip of coffee without asking.
Joe just rolls straight to an outro and the show's over.
Now I gotta say, the Patriots offense with Hopkins, Juju, the two tight ends, Gesicki and Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, they'd have some weapons over there. I'm not sure it'd be amazing for fantasy, but Mac Jones would be on the hottest seat of all time if that was the offense, right?
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the rosters where you look at it and you're like, it's a pretty freaking good offense. And then you stick it next to an actually good offense on paper and you're like, oh, wait, that's what a good offense looks like. It's just like trying to be. Right. It's like the chocolate that's good until you have it next to like the Belgian dark chocolate. Know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, that's pretty good, but look at the Chiefs.
Mac
look at the Bengals.
Mac Jones is just a little chubby Hershey's Kiss.
They signed James Robinson too, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. To a lot of money, to way more money than Damon Harris got. So they must really like this guy, or they must think he has a bunch of Robert Sala's secrets.
We should get you a James Robinson jersey.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm really fired up about this trade. Really fired up about this signing. Hey, you know what? I'm rooting for the guy now. So, like, as a fantasy analyst, I can say that. In real life, I am rooting for James Robinson. So.
We buy Patriots jerseys for everybody, but they're all a little disrespectful. Like Coop gets the James Robinson jersey because it's the one he wants the least. I get a Mac Jones jersey, but it just says noodles across the back.
Get Joey a Devontae Parker jersey just because who would ever?
Just 'cause that's
I get a
disrespectful.
Jacoby Myers jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll
Devon-
feature Jacoby Myers jersey.
We'll get Tommy one.
And Joey just slowly collects Damian Pierce jerseys from every team in the league.
Boy, my DMs were blowing up about Devin Singletary.
I
coming to
bet they
Houston.
were, dude.
Jeez.
How dare you
Indeed.
like a Hey, Joey, how dare you like a player?
I know. They were nice though. They're like, so what do you think, Joey? They weren't like, yeah, he's done.
This is Joey DMing himself.
Basically, that's what it is.
It does work both ways, right? Because like if there was positive Damian Pierce news in some way, shape, or form, you'd be the first person people will hit up. But when the negative news hits, those same people are ready to be like, ah!
Yeah. But the thing is, they know exactly what they're doing going to you, saying, what do you think? Right? It's like,
Yeah.
that's like you drop like a vase on the ground and they're like, what do you think, Joey? Like they're trying to get you to react to the news. That's what they're doing.
I responded to them all. I was like, yeah, definite split, 95-5.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think it'll be pretty good for Singletary. He should get at least 5% of the work over there.
He might be able to make something of himself. Tim said, "Stop sending awesome players to AFC East teams other than Miami."
I know, Tim. Look out.
Period.
now.
3
Period.
words.
3
Stop sending
words.
awesome players to AFC East teams other than Miami.
7 words.
AFC East is really hard to say fast.
AFC East.
AFC East. FC East.
Yeah,
Yes,
AFC East.
AFC
Ooh.
East.
So AFC
That's
sent
not
he's trying to send an AFC and desist.
Nice.
Oh, the AFC East and desist.
There
Speaking
it
of
is.
cease and desist, Coop, you ready for your next riddle?
Nice transition.
Wow, the segue.
Riddle me
dude.
this,
Let's
Koopathy.
go.
Riddle's
I-
ridiculous.
I am ready now. I am ready after that transition, dude. It brought me
Alright.
right back.
Here it is.
My riddle is
Here
names.
it is. In one moment when I tell you. 3 sideline wardens gains assess. Their linked equipment marks progress. With metallic bands, they calculate. Name this group that tracks the game state.
I got this one. This is the Chain Gang.
Chain gang is correct, Coop. Or chain crew.
Chain Crew does not sound as cool as Chain Gang. I'm sorry.
It doesn't. It
I
doesn't.
prefer the first down professionals.
First time professionals.
Excuse
That's
me.
the First Down Professionals are the carpet cleaning company that we have coming out later today.
The First Down Professional Chain Gang versus First Down Professionals is like when you're like, he's the janitor, and he's like, actually, I'm the professor of custodial arts here.
Exactly.
Man, Coop in the victory, in the lead here, 3-2. And Joey, your final riddle. Are you ready?
So I can't win this game.
This is one's worth 5.
You cannot, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, if
that's
you
fine.
steal this,
Yeah, I'm gonna steal this one from myself.
How about this? It's
All right.
worth 5 if you can get it with just the first word of the riddle.
Okay.
All right, hit him with the first word.
Passed.
Donkeys.
Is that it?
Joey wins.
Joey wins. That'd be sick though. If it
Nailed
was
it.
like Broncos.
All right.
You should have at least
Let's
guessed
go.
a football word of some kind.
Donkeys is the Denver Donkeys, right?
Oh, that's true.
The Denver Donkeys. All right, Joey.
Broncos.
Here
Mhm.
it is.
So, mhm.
Past the borders, the contest halts. A ball or player strays and action faults. The timer pauses, the game resumes. What term describes these sideline tombs?
Is it out of bounds?
Out of bounds is correct. Joey, you're gonna get
Dang.
this point and secure Coop's victory
Nerd,
for us.
nerd. Let's
You guys
did
got
really-
every single one.
We did really well on those. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to be harder next time. They got to be more riddly.
I think that's why I
Really?
didn't get field goal because I was thinking like really tough, and then
You're
when you guys
thinking-
said it, I was like, oh man.
You were thinking
We were
high
thinking
level.
on the 9th level. Yeah.
Yeah.
This didn't
Highest
require the
level
highest
military
level of
thinking.
military thinking. It
The
required
highest.
probably required the 2nd or 3rd highest, and you were a little bit too far on that one.
Yeah, you went
Which has
too-
never happened before, so it's nice to be there.
Yeah, you had the clearance. You shouldn't have drank all those sips of coffee, dude. Took your brain to a too high of a level.
It'll hit you.
Closer.
Yeah,
You can try your coffee again tomorrow, Joey. But I appreciate the confidence that you made its closing level. Well, guys, coming up, Coop's probably going to try to win some more games, and we're going to do our best to stop him. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Carolina Panthers last season, what happened, what went right, what went wrong, and what they're doing going forward. We've got some hypothetically headed your way, and then brackets with our friend Eric Moody from ESPN. Right now, though, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Sell me on doing away with the 2-conference system in the NFL.
Is it really a sale whenever this is something that's commonly agreed upon? I'm selling you on water being wet. I'm selling you on something that is objectively true right here. We look at teams at the end of the season and we go, how the hell does one team have such an easy schedule while another team is just absolutely getting obliterated? And that's because of the 2-conference system, because the division system feeds into this conference system. It's a symptom of the greater problem. Like these divisional matchups, you're telling me it's fair that the Buccaneers are in the playoffs after playing the Panthers twice, the Falcons twice, and the Saints twice this year? That is unbelievable. There are multiple more deserving teams every single year that, because of this system where we silo them into random groups, it determines the order. And yes, originally this was geography based, right? We had these divisions, they were geography. It's 2023, my dudes. Geography doesn't matter whenever it comes to the size of the United States. These teams can travel anywhere. They don't need to geographically locate them in divisions or conferences to make the games make more sense. If USC can be in the Big Ten, why the hell can't Miami play San Francisco every year? It can happen. They've got more money than these colleges and they're not taking classes. All it does is create an ecosystem where less talented teams can get rewarded for playing in weaker divisions and more talented teams are punished for continuing to improve.
Damn, bro.
Drop the mic.
I like to picture some geography teacher out there just threw a pen on the ground. He was like, how dare you? He smacked the globe. He was like,
what do you all the hard work we've done.
2023 geography doesn't matter, right? Smacks his
You know
globe.
how long it took for us to get respect?
Globe goes spinning around, right? Geography doesn't matter. How dare
I'm
you?
just imagining they ripped on the world map and underneath is Algebra 2. Like they just go straight into being a math teacher.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Paper straws. Oh, they're so bad. Ray, I mean, I'm almost tempted to say screw Mother Earth. Give me a real straw. The paper straw thing is a step too far in saving the planet for me.
Great idea. The problem is it has to last. Like it can't go mushy halfway through my drink.
That's
And
the
I think
problem.
That's the problem. They have a hard time standing up if you don't drink that.
100%.
drink.
That's my issue, Ray. I'm all for taking care of the only planet we got. But Ray, some people like to drive a lot. I don't. I don't get on them for they have to drive 20 minutes to work every day. Can I just get a plastic straw? Like, I think, Ray, we should be able to pay for a card that says, I don't drive every day, so they said I could have this kind of environmental impact by getting a plastic straw. I am in favor, Ray, of government-issued plastic straws if I have the proof that I'm worthy of such. If you want it, you get it. It's kind of like the clear pass. You know,
Yeah,
at the
there you go.
airport.
Okay.
Like, Ray, I'd be willing to pay an extra $2 a year, and I get as many plastic straws as I want when I go out to the restaurant.
And the $2 goes toward cleaning the oceans or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's not a terrible idea. Not terrible.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto beans.
It's also in the beans. Scoop eats beans for breakfast because he's been to England.
He's been to England.
Hilarious.
Idiot.
What an idiot, dude.
Idiot.
Beans
Yeah,
for
I have-
breakfast.
I have a bit of a treat as part of my breakfast. Are we still doing BYOB?
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half. Bit of a treat for breakfast. What I consider to be the greatest of all juices. Any guess what that might
Hog juice.
be? It's hog juice.
Grass juice.
I
Cucumber
love a
juice.
glass of
I
grass.
do
juice.
want to say I gave a real answer. I said pog, not hog.
Oh, I thought you said hog.
Hog juice is much better though.
What the heck is hog juice?
Yeah.
Something I've had on the airplane once in Hawaii. It was like papaya, orange, guava.
Ooh,
You
that
said a
sounds
special
great.
treat, so I thought of the specialist treat I could think
Yeah.
of.
I mean, orange juice might be the best juice, but this is like kind of a little bit of a specialty juice. It's not like
Apple.
Pomegranate.
Apple's pretty good, but it's not apple. It's not pomegranate. It's a combination of a famous combination of two fruits.
What is it?
It's one more guess for Simon.
A cherry limeade.
Cran grape.
Ooh. I'm a sucker for crayon. Add another fruit.
Yeah,
Thanks for the close-up view, Coop.
Oh, dude,
Wow.
look at it. This is getting wild.
Look at I can see your face.
Shall I do the rest of the show through this glass of cran grape?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gran
Oh,
Cupio.
all right, cool.
What a treat. What a
Yeah.
treat. Some cran grape in the morning. Welch's, you've outdone yourself this time. Or Ocean Spray. If this was you, credit where credit's due.
Smart to not leave anybody out. And if you would like us to leave the other company out, hit us up. We're open for sponsors. And Welch, if you want Ocean Spray out of the picture, give Keith a buzz.
Let's start a bidding war.
P.O.
Between
Box.
the juice
Tomorrow
companies.
our offices are full of cranberries, like up to our shoulders. Sponsored by Ocean Spray.
our rooms are just those Ocean Spray
Cranberry
commercials where the people are sitting there and the waiters
It's just letting you.
filled with like 4 feet of water.
We're just letting you juice boys out there know that we can be bought.
Dustin said, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fruit eater, but I love getting a juicer and juicing things.
Juice it
Who
up, dude.
doesn't love like shoving a carrot through a juicer? That's got to be one of the best
Satisfying.
feelings in the world, is like this crunchy hard object just becomes a liquid.
Tall glass of salmon juice.
See, the way you just described it, Simon, all the words you use made me think I don't like it, but you're right, I do like it.
It's so good,
Yeah,
but it sounds disgusting.
it sounds not fun.
Sounds vile. Well, guys, we got some NFL teams to talk about. We've been going through postmortems. We've talked about the Ravens. We've talked about the Cardinals. I think we've talked about the Falcons as well. But today, we're talking about the Carolina Panthers, going in order ABCs as we do. And the Carolina Panthers have had better seasons. They were a bit of a mess at the quarterback position, unsure who the starter was throughout the season. They had 4 different players throw passes, 3 different players start between Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and PJ Walker. A coach fired, Steve Wilkes taking over. It was a little bit of a mess. John Luke, what stands out to you as maybe the primary thing that went wrong for this Panthers team?
I mean, the Baker Mayfield part of the saga is just confusing. And I think starting off with Matt Rule just really hamstrung them the whole rest of the season. But the fact that Baker wasn't able to really do anything in that offense, I was not expecting that. That was a surprise to me in the season.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield was in Superflex leagues, was one of my hiccup preferred late round targets last season. I thought he's an above average quarterback going to a below average team. So I was expecting average results,
Right.
just very solid QB2 numbers from Baker Mayfield. And it was atrocious what we saw there. Now, that being said, it didn't get much better with other quarterbacks until Matt Rule left. And we saw Steve Wilkes kind of implement a different offense here, and it looked all right.
Yeah, it's
And he's not an offensive, like, that's not his background or specialty.
Nope.
But you're right. It was at least passable.
Yeah. And it's funny how, because of the way the league is set up, it kind of moves the needle on what we consider average or above average. Because, like, right when you said above average, I was like, Baker above average? But then I realized that, like, we kind of look at it like only one team gets to win, and the quarterback's the most important position. So anybody who's not, like, top, like, 5, 6, 7, we're just like, oh, they suck. You know what I mean? But, like,
Yeah.
above average is, like, the 15th or 16th quarterback is the average quarterback, and they're not that great. So, you know, we kind of, in perspective, Baker Mayfield to me is an average NFL quarterback, right? Because there's plenty of guys that just wash out of the league in like a year, 2 years. The Zach Wilsons of the world, he's not washed out yet. Maybe the Josh Rosens. So, I don't know. We'll have to see what he does in Tampa Bay, but Carolina, it was not even average what he was doing.
It was
It's
a really
kind of-
circuitous route to Tampa Bay to go through LA to get there. There had to be a closer layover.
Charcuterie.
I worry that Sean McVay is just really good at talking to these quarterbacks through the headset and telling them what to do. That's what he did with Jared Goff. That's what he did with Baker Mayfield. You know, feel like the Bucks might have fell for the old trap, the old Baker trap, the old Baker Los Angeles Rams pump and dump.
Sean McVay just bringing in quarterbacks for a couple games, whispering in their ears, then getting some draft picks.
Yeah, just like crypto.
Man, Sean McVay as the leader of a multi-level marketing scheme sounds like the perfect Hollywood movie.
Dangerous, dude. Like
why does that fit so well?
Boiler Room 2, starring Sean McVay, and he's selling Baker Mayfield to other teams.
Yeah, basically his giant Ponzi scheme.
Jared Goff. Yeah, I mean, I'd watch.
There was one that really took hold of my high school, like MLM. Do you guys remember Verve energy drink?
Vaguely.
And so that they did the similar thing where like they would hire representatives and then they would have to buy a certain amount of product to sell, but they would get people underneath them to like buy a certain number of product and sell. And when I tell you this took grips of my high school, and my sister's ex-boyfriend was the ringleader. He was a criminal, man. He was a scam artist down to his core, and he's probably killing it now. Unbelievably talented. I don't want to take that away from him, but a criminal. And he was running this thing. And I just remember like going to one of the meetings that he had, and there was 80 people there, just like, and he was hyping them up, and they were like, yeah. And that was the moment where I was like, yeah, Rebecca has to get out of this relationship. This
isn't healthy.
The level of charisma that he's got 80 people buying energy drinks from him, like that they've never heard of, is a little bit too high.
It's too much, dude. And it's so funny that we sit here and we're like, oh, yo, pyramid scheme. That's a bad word and that's illegal. And then these multi-level marketing things come around and they're like, well, here's the shape of how the organization works, right? So here at the top, right? We're just like, wait a second. The more people you get underneath you, then it just trickles all the way up to the top. And I'm like, that looks
trickles all the way up.
Sean McVay's getting the other teams to buy into his pyramid scheme. Like, yeah, you just send me your quarterbacks, and then I speak in their ear for a little bit, then I trade them for draft picks, and then you get someone else underneath you to do the same thing.
Yeah,
I guess
the old QB pyramid scheme, classic.
100%. Outside of that quarterback position, though, I guess they're still figuring out what they're doing at quarterback next year. We assume they're going to draft C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young at the top there and have them start. But there's not much of a strong veteran presence in that locker room to go with them. The rest of the offense wasn't too much to get excited about either. They had Christian McCaffrey for 6 games, and then they didn't. And it was Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard running the show there. What's going on at the running back position for this Panthers team next year?
Miles Sanders, super duper megastar in fantasy football, catching 1 million passes and scoring all the touchdowns. Thank you.
I see the rest of my time to the chair.
I see the rest of my, and Chuba Hubbard, if he gets hurt, Chuba Hubbard will come in once again and do poorly.
JL, anything to add on Chuba?
I don't remember. Where did Deonta Foreman go?
He went to the
Bears.
Bears. That's what. Oh, that's right. That's the Bears guy. Yeah, now Chuba has been decent when he's filled in. I think that he's going to be a solid like Alexander Madison type player, like that solid backup. I think he fits as a nice complement to Miles Sanders.
That being said, I am excited for Miles Sanders. We'll see what happens. He's always been a great running back. He's never been a high touchdown guy because of the offense that he's been in. Maybe we get more touchdowns. Now, that being said, he is on the Panthers offense, which there might not be a lot of touchdown opportunity. But this dude let's see if that 5 yards per carry holds up in Carolina. But even if he's running like 4.5, 4.8, you're probably still pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and I'll take a hit in yards per carry for receptions. We talk about it all the time where it's mathematically been shown that the receptions are more valuable than the carries. Alvin Kamara never had a 1,000-yard season. Austin Eckler's never had a 1,000-yard season. Don't care about that. So I'll definitely trade the yards per carry for receptions. The real pain is if he doesn't catch more passes, but he loses yards per carry and scores less touchdowns, and then he's just another running back that on a bad team that's not very good. And that's within the range of outcomes. But I think that now not having Jalen Hurts moves the high end of the range of outcomes higher than it was before.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That's what the hope is, right? That we get Miles touchdown Sanders now instead of Miles Sanders that we had there in Philly.
Miles Barry Sanders is what I want.
Miles
Oh.
Barry Sanders.
Miles Booby Barry Sanders. That's what I want. That's what I want to see, dude. Just the greatest
Miles
running.
Booby Barry Sanders.
Miles Booby Barry Sanders, the greatest running back of all time. Let Booby spin. Let Booby Barry spin. That's what I want to see.
Let Booby spin.
And for the amount of money they gave Booby Barry, Miles Sanders, he should be doing lots of spinning for that team.
How much money did they give him again? How big was that deal?
$25 million. So he's the highest paid free agent running back. Got more than David Montgomery. Got more than Jamal Williams. He's being paid is not. I mean, it's not the high. I guess technically the highest paid guys are the franchise tag guys because they got 1 year $10 million, which per year basis, no running back's going to get $10 million for like a 4 year $40 million deal. But as far as like total guaranteed money, he got the most.
Probably intend on using them like that. It makes sense also with a rookie quarterback coming in that they try to shore up that run game a little bit, maybe create some more balance to that offense so it's not just Chuba Hubbard running the show. Now at receiver, it was DJ Moore was their number one guy, had been for the past 4 or 5 years. He's gone now. He is now a Chicago Bear. So we're looking
Terrace
at
Marshall. So
Harris Marshall and Laviska Shenault as the wide receiver 1 and 2 there.
That's
John,
right.
You comfy with that? You think that's what they're going to go into the season with?
Well, they added another guy. You guys, how quickly we forget they snuck in and added Adam Thielen.
I did entirely 100% forget about Adam Thielen. So sorry, Terrace Marshall and Laviska Shenault. This is probably the Adam Thielen show.
But there's a co-star position.
Now, which player fits into that co-star position better? Is it
Terrace Marshall?
You think so?
I hope so.
In my mind, Terrace Marshall and Adam Thielen probably are the more similar of the two players. And so Laviska Shenault seems to be the guy that might slip in there as the other weapon.
If we are doing fantasy wishing, which JL said when you say I hope so, that's where we're at. I agree that I would like it to be Terrace Marshall. I would like it to be Terrace Marshall. But it could be Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
It could be nobody with a rookie quarterback coming in. But I don't know, man.
How often does a rookie quarterback support 2 fantasy relevant receiving options? Not very often, right?
Almost never. And we're talking because the thing is, you have to rule out certain quarterbacks that didn't play as a rookie. Like the first year that Patrick Mahomes played, he threw 50 touchdown passes, but he wasn't a rookie that year. His rookie year, he did 0.
Yeah.
Even Peyton Manning threw I'm not even kidding. I think Peyton Manning threw something absurd, like 28 interceptions as a rookie. Like he was not good as a rookie. Like it was he was just chucking the ball all over the place. Not like it was pretty bad. We know Trevor Lawrence had his rookie year. Not only was he rookie, but he was playing with Urban Meyer. So yeah. Peyton Manning
said it's never Hayden Hurst.
Peyton Manning as a rookie threw 28 picks. How crazy is that? That's so many picks, dude.
It's nuts. And even Baker Mayfield broke the rookie touchdown record his rookie year, and he threw 27. You know what I mean? That has since been passed, I believe, by 2 other quarterbacks. But that's the ceiling for a rookie quarterback is less than 30 passing touchdowns.
I remember Deshaun Watson looked really good as a rookie, but then he got hurt. So
his team was awful that year. He had a rough start. I remember his first game, he pretty much solely targeted DeAndre Hopkins the entire game.
It's not a bad strategy, though.
It's not a bad strategy, but it was comical. It was you actually only threw to DeAndre Hopkins the whole entire game.
Let's see.
Fancy in the BSN chat said Boiler Room 2. Let's go. Underrated movie.
That's a Fancy in the chat, dude. Shout out Fantasy Alarm, dude. Yeah, Boiler Room is an excellent movie. There's some when I used to do mortgage sales, the first job I had when it was just a bunch of idiots, we used to play speeches before work. We get to work in the morning and my boss would be like, we're watching this. And it'd be a speech from Boiler Room where it's he's getting everybody fired up to rip people off. And we'd watch the one that I mentioned earlier where he's Alec Baldwin, coffees for closers. Have you seen that one? That speech? He would play these for us and we would just be like, yeah, let's go. And then we'd put on our headsets and be like, do you want a refi? Yeah, but it's boiler room.
But I'm alright.
I just
Boiler
Googled
Room.
Boiler Room 2, and it came up on the Titanic wiki describing a specific room on the actual ship. I'm guessing that's not what you're referring to.
I'm guessing some bad stuff happened in that.
Well, this was probably the last boiler room to be producing power, hence the gradual power failure seen throughout the sinking ship.
Huh.
The Boiler Room 2, an
Significant.
excellent movie that Fensty loves, and the last room producing power on the
There
Titanic.
you go.
Incredible.
Shout out
Would've
Titanic.
Shout out Boiler Room number 2.
Yeah.
I'm going through and looking at like some of the highest graded rookie seasons for quarterbacks, and it's like Russell Wilson as a rookie, but his top wide receivers were Sidney Rice and Golden Tate, and neither one of them had more than 800 yards. Robert Griffin on Washington, but the reason that was such a good season was he had 800 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. The Baker Mayfield season on the Browns, which we know that they didn't have 2 high-end pass-catching options. 4 is like Mac Jones and the Patriots. We can skip by that. Dak Prescott on the Cowboys in 2016. So you're right, Simon, that it's not that off. Your implication of like how often does a rookie quarterback have 2 fantasy relevant pass catchers? The answer seemingly is virtually never.
Virtually never. So it's probably, if we think it's going to be Adam Thielen, that's probably the pass catcher we should draft there. But maybe there's not a guarantee. Jail, if you've got thunder or fire behind Terrace Marshall, if you think there's a chance, maybe we started seeing some of it last year. Adam Thielen's aging, getting older. Taking a shot on Terrace Marshall late in drafts and thinking maybe he's the guy that this rookie quarterback connects with. I'm not opposed to. I'm not opposed, but it's one of those ones where if it's not week 1 or 2 that I see it, cut bait. You cut bait, and that seems like a draft early, cut bait quickly kind of player.
Yeah, and to clarify, I didn't see enough from Terrace Marshall last year to make me happy. I wanted to see more.
Yeah,
my hope is purely just from I know he has the talent in him to play up to that level. I don't know if he's going to actually reach that. I'm not taking a stance there, but that'd be cool if he does.
Right. I will say that he was playing, because I do the snap count articles for Fantasy Alarm, and I kept saying this guy's playing every snap. Like he could pop at any moment. Didn't really pop. Like he ended the season playing. These were his last 5 games. 85% snaps, 89% snaps, 93% snaps, 88%, 93%. So in those 5 games, these were his targets. 1, 3, 3, 3, 3.
I will say that almost everything has changed for him going into the season. So that's where I think the point of what Simon's saying is true, and I can get behind, is that there's a chance that he locks up with this rookie QB coming in and he's actually turns into something.
There's a chance. I'm rooting for it, but he's got to step up. He needs the QB help.
100%. We'll see if this offense turns around. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't hire Steve Wilkes, but I think the Frank Reich hire is a good one, and it seems like he's putting together a decent staff over there. So hopefully we get an improved Carolina Panthers offense going into next season. Now, we spent most of that time talking about Terrace Marshall when we're talking receivers there. Is there any hope for Laviska Shenault, or is this a not even rostering them in Dynasty?
There is, and I'm not rostering Shi Smith. He was a day 3 pick that they went out and got Laviska Shenault. I mean, that immediately crushes all that kind of crushes a lot of the upside there. So I'm not excited for Shi Smith. Laviska Shenault's a guy that when you have an ambiguous room like this, which we've seen it like with the Panthers before, 2020 Panthers, everyone was drafting DJ Moore at pick. He was like wide receiver 9, and Robbie Anderson was wide receiver 54, and Curtis Samuel was 64. And then it went completely the opposite, where Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel scored more PPR points than DJ Moore. When it is ambiguous and we don't know who the guy is, I'm always willing to take whoever the cheapest guy is in best ball. So if Thielen's going early and Marshall's going next, I'll take Shenault. If it's Shenault, I'll take Terrace Marshall. Whoever's going third, I don't mind taking a stab on those guys.
So for Shenault, you're saying maybe in best ball?
I'm saying, just like we said, maybe in best ball.
Also, Jay in the chat saying, did someone say Visca? And Dustin said Visca is going to be fire this year. So Dustin in on Visca with a rookie quarterback there in Carolina. And then Hal in the chat said LaVisca is a daily fantasy gold mine. Weeks at the top corner is lockdown, and the third guy is a hot dog vendor. So if you're doing your deep dive DFS and you see that the opposing team has a lockdown corner and a hot dog vendor as their third string, then get LaVisca in your lineups.
Get him in there.
There you go.
Every single time.
Lots of good advice. So
now, whenever we look at this team, what glaring holes do you think they need to address this offseason, either through free agency or through the draft? Obviously, quarterback needs to be filled. They grabbed Adam Thielen, so maybe that's the moves they're making at wide receiver. Are there other moves that you guys see in the works for this Panthers team?
They need to, they need to bolster that O-line, and they need to just I think they need some explosive skill position players. I think Adam Thielen is a great wide receiver acquisition for the team, but I think they need somebody on the other side of that who's going to be explosive.
Maybe they could have used Mecole Hardman type, even though he's not as good as Adam Thielen. He's a bit more explosive.
Yeah, maybe somebody a little bit more consistent. But yeah, that type, like big play.
Yeah, I will say I've been kind of monitoring them. When I say kind of monitoring them, I've been running the stupid free agent tracker over at Fantasy Alarm. Shout out Fantasy Alarm. Go check that out. It's not stupid. It's actually very cool, but it is pretty labor intensive. And I've been monitoring the moves, and I really like kind of how this defense is coming together. So they have like the entire defense, when you go through it, it's like all first and second round picks. And then they just went out this offseason and signed a couple pretty high end free agents. So when you look at it, Brian Burns is very good right outside linebacker, even though he was very mean to Mac Jones last year. He's a first round pick. J.C. Horn at cornerback is a first-round pick. Shaq Thompson was a first-round pick. Derek Brown, the nose tackle, he was a first-round pick, right? Then you have Dante Jackson and Jeremy Chin, both second-round picks. Yetur Gross-Matos, second-round pick. So it's like they were loaded in first and second-round picks, high draft capital in the defense. What do? They go out and get Von Bell, who, everybody talks about Jesse Bates from the Bengals, but Von Bell he led that team in snaps. He played 98.8% of the snaps last year. Super reliable, strong safety, racks up a ton of tackles. They go out, grab him. They grab Xavier Woods at free safety and Shai Tuttle at defensive tackle. Like, this defense is quietly pretty loaded up, to be honest, with talented players. So the Panthers, I think that might be what Adam Thielen's talking about when he says, hey, we got a good defense. I'm a good pass catcher. If we hit on this quarterback with Miles Sanders at running back, why can't we be contenders? So maybe Thielen's not crazy saying the Panthers are pretty close to being Super Bowl contenders. I don't know. What do you think? What do you boys think?
It feels crazy. Maybe he's not, but that feels not correct. Just down to my core. This offense was abysmal last year. You're bringing in a rookie quarterback. You lost your top wide receiver, replaced with Adam Thielen. No more Christian McCaffrey. Maybe this defense is good, but that's best case scenario is good defense and passable offense.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably not going to win it, but I can see what he's saying is that what if you just nail it? What if this guy is just a stud? But they really do need it. They do need it.
Absolutely. I was trying to look up the odds to win the division for the Carolina Panthers. But I can't pull that up right now. I'm having trouble finding. Oh, here we go. So in that division, the Panthers are the second most favored team to win it, just behind the Saints. The Saints at plus 115, but the Panthers are at plus 270, Falcons at plus 400, then Bucks at plus 500. So the first step to winning the Super Bowl is making the playoffs. Adam Thielen isn't that far off whenever he says that they're contenders if he's talking about making the playoffs. They're not that much less favored than the Saints to win the NFC South next year.
Not that surprised. That division is just so weak. Saints definitely feel like a trap.
Who's the best coach in that division?
Kevin James.
Even though he's not there. Sean Payton left behind the ghost of Kevin James in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's a good question, dude, because we have unproven coach here. People hate Arthur Smith, and I don't know if he deserves it. I think he's a fine coach, but people are just like, I hate Arthur.
I can't not think of that about Nando. And that like halfway through the season, they did those little short clip videos, and Nando saying how he's like, yeah, I'm still holding out hope Arthur Smith wins head coach of the year. He's had like a bet out on him.
Yeah, I remember that. Good luck on that one.
It might be Frank Reich. Has he had the most NFL success of any of the coaches there? Dennis Allen, pretty fresh. We got Arthur Smith. It's probably not Arthur Smith based on what we've seen on the field so far. It might be Frank Reich. It might be the Carolina coach there.
It might be. It might be.
Also, I saw Hallen here earlier say Carolina will play from behind all year. How many times will they throw this year? So I do expect them to play from behind. But again, I hate to keep harping on the same point, but they're going to have a rookie throwing the ball. And I just can't imagine a rookie quarterback out there chucking the ball 600 times or anywhere close to it, right? Like even if they're playing from behind, they're going to protect their rookie quarterback to the best of their ability, which means not having them chuck the ball 40 times a game, 50 times a game. They'll just lose if they suck. They'll just lose and throw the ball 27, 28 times, which will be a lot for a rookie quarterback, but I don't expect him to throw a ton.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they're going to be able to protect it very well either, because they just over leveraged and got rid of all their picks.
No. And then I was reading something the other day. It was just a conversation people were having on Reddit. And they were talking about whenever we go into the offseason and we look at these drafts, every team, it's always like, oh, they need to improve their O-line. They need to improve their O-line. They need to improve their O-line. And we talk about the quarterback position, how there's only like 10 great quarterbacks and there's a quarterback short. And it's just as difficult, if not more difficult, from what it sounds like, to find an elite left tackle. Like the elite left tackles are just as rare, if not more rare, than the quarterback. So of course, all these teams want to upgrade at offensive line, just like the teams with Jared Goff want to upgrade at quarterback. Sometimes you just can't. The talent's not there. It's not available. It's on teams. Sorry, try again next year.
Yeah. And a big part of that is that every team needs 2 tackles and they play every single snap. So like, even just like, you don't just find them floating around. Like the guys that are even like the guys that aren't good enough to play left tackle play right tackle. They're all employed. So you have to get them through the draft. They don't just kind of like show up.
There's a whole supply demand concept we were talking about yesterday a little bit.
Right. Yeah. There's no oversupply.
Dustin said Gross Matos sounds like a game you guys would play on the show.
Yeah. Gross. I think it's Gross Matos. It does sound like
Gross Matos.
Gross Matos.
Gross my toes.
Do what with my toes? Tell me more. Well, Hal also in here saying Miles Sanders more chip blocks than yards this year. Yeah, maybe. I'll take the yard side, but it's going to be close. We'll do a Gross Mato bet on that one.
Yeah.
Well, guys, the Carolina Panthers sucked last year. Maybe they'll suck less this year, but they got a new head coach in town, and I'm excited to see who they end up taking with that first overall pick. We got some more FYF Morning Show goodness coming your way. We're going to play some hypothetically, and then our friend Moody is joining us for a best NFL nicknames bracket. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Talk about your picks and your fantasy teams on Bettor Sports Network.
The importance of checking out the site that you're playing on. Default rankings of these sites. A lot of times they don't get updated. I know from experience. I used to write default rankings for the NFBKC, the basketball version of the NFBC. I'd write these default rankings in June for the NBA, before the NBA draft, before free agency opened up. And guess what? I was never asked to write an update article or update the default rankings. This happens a lot. Maybe if there's something obvious, it gets updated. Aaron Judge, for some reason, hurts his back. Maybe they make that change. Just maybe. But you don't know that. And that's why it's just so important that you show up to your draft room or you do that pre-draft prep. We're all busy. We know we're about to devote a lot of time to our fantasy baseball drafts. Why not spend the extra 20 to 25 minutes to invest properly in your team, to go and see which of those players are way down default rankings? They're going to be different
on all of these sites, and you're going to be looking at them and going, huh? Maybe their analysts think a certain player who shouldn't be in the top 100, who should be maybe even not even the top 200, will be in that top 100. You got to check that out. You got to know where you're playing, just like you got to know your format when you sign up for the league. It's just so crucial, and people just skip right over it. You think it's cool to show up to the draft room 3 minutes before the draft. Well, number one, it's not cool because the commissioner's trying to make sure it's organized, especially me, who runs auctions. You can't, it's one thing if someone doesn't show up for the snake draft. Oh, well, doesn't ruin it for everyone. Auctions, you can't have someone not show up. Auto bidding, auto auctioning, it ruins the sanctity of those drafts here, which is why I always recommend, hey, make it easy on your commissioner. Don't make them send those texts there. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't wait till the last minute and get in there about 20, 25 minutes before so you can just look up and down the entire default rankings list so you can make a queue out of that, Ron. And the reason I keep saying this is because people still show up 2-3 minutes before the draft, and that's it. In fact, in one of my auctions, people were asking me where certain players were, and I go, did you search their name? No, I just got in. Well, that's no excuse right there. That's your own fault. I mean, you're organized, so you're a hard person to ask here.
You're getting those questions. This is your preschool league, right? People don't know how to search player names.
People freak out. They don't think. That's the problem. Because they show up 2 minutes before the draft. That's why.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. We're about to get into a game of Hypothetically, the game where we peruse, and overthink the hell out of a hypothetical scenario placed in front of us. Maybe football related, maybe non-football related, but the one and only rule is overthink it. John Luke has some hypothetical scenarios for us today. Coop and I are going to do our best to fully explore them.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Our first hypothetically prompt is... Ooh, did we? We did one of these. But did we do the other one? That is a good question. I don't know. But let's go with this one. Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or be able to walk on water?
Ooh.
Now,
I thought for sure whenever you said the first option, I was going to pick it because I didn't know what the second option was, but I probably should have waited for the second option.
Yeah.
Now, would I need to have like weird looking gills and all that, or is it just me as I am now, but I can breathe underwater?
I think it's you as you are now, because otherwise you'd have to have some weird looking shoes to walk on the water, and that'd be
Your feet would be like really create like a large surface area. You just have these really large flat feet,
comically large,
like 4 foot in diameter, like
they make you look real
pads.
stupid.
Yeah. Also, Hal with a great question. Can you turn on and off walking on water, or are you trapped above water?
You are
Like
trapped
you
above
know
water.
how I guess you would know how to break the surface. Like you can walk on it, but then you could choose to break the surface, like maybe like stomp down and you break through or something.
Yeah, I guess.
You
guess
just
you
know
can turn it
how.
on and off.
It's like a technique. You have a specific technique that you know where you just kind of like put your foot at a certain angle and then you're good.
So easy apps. The pressure doesn't exist in this scenario. It does, but it makes it so you can walk on water. Surely.
I know you like I know you like to even things out. And then if we were going to even out the other side, it would be like, well, you can only breathe underwater. And then all of a sudden we're not picking that. Like, so there's no, yeah. So, okay. Now with the breathing underwater thing, I still have to like swim. Like it's just I still have to swim and do all the stuff normally. And I'm still susceptible to pressure changes, I imagine too, right?
Yeah.
Or am I legit like submarine? Okay.
No, you still have to deal with pressure changes and stuff. In the same way that you still have to like walk across the water.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to make mine, Simon. Unless you have any more questions.
When walking on water, does this exclude other forms of movement? Can I run?
You can run.
I can run on water as well? Because
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, in a scenario where I'm walking, what if I'm being chased by a shark?
Yeah, that might be dangerous though, because shark can come up from underneath.
Yeah, I'll just go, whoo! I'll just give it a little hop.
I don't
Zigzag.
know if that hop's gonna do much for you. A shark
Depends
coming up from
on-
underneath.
Depends on the type of shark.
I feel
And
like
that type of hop.
shark's gonna be a problem in either scenario, I imagine.
I don't know. I played Cuphead, so I'm pretty sure I could outrun a shark in the ocean. I know all the techniques. I would just need a couple hundred deaths to learn the
Yeah,
pattern.
exactly. That's that's I was gonna say that's Cuphead. You need a couple thousand tries before you get it figured out.
There was a moment I went back to the fountain where it tells you how many times you had died, and this was in the middle of not even having beat the second to last boss. 2,700. 2,700 times we had died up to that point in the game.
Oh my god.
Pretty brutal.
It shows you the count.
It shows you the count. There's a fountain in Inkwell Isle 2 that you can walk up to and click on, and it'll tell you how many times you've died.
Oh, that's gonna make me feel bad.
Yeah,
I gotta get back in there and play that one again. That game's wild.
It's a good one. Maria and I have been playing it. Jason, what happens when you take a shower? Nothing?
If you put your face like this, you can breathe.
And if you stand there, you can continue to stand there.
This in the shower.
If you go really quickly, you can climb it.
if your drain's clogged, you can be an inch taller in the shower.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good point. Or if you fill up your tub, you could be a few feet taller, maybe.
Oh, if it rains,
the ceiling.
If it rains really hard, you can fly.
Why can you fly?
Because you just run on the raindrops, dude. Like there's enough rain, you just run. Whoa!
You're still subject to physics to some degrrie.
You need at least enough water to support your weight, right? You can't.
Yeah, it has to be raining really hard.
Fine. I feel like
Dustin said, "What is the benefit of walking on water?"
Everyone thinks I mean, like you can immediately
you don't have to swim.
Immediately start a cult. Right. Immediately.
Money.
Dude. Yeah.
Just Chris Angel. That guy's made a career out of walking on water.
No question, dude. Like, I only know
the two routes you can go. Cult leader scamming people out of their money with the promise of like eternal life and belief, or magician.
I'll tell you what though.
Choose your own adventure.
Hey, illusion professional.
Sorry, those are the two guys. Those are the two. There's two big names I think of right away, and they both seem pretty cool, right? The Walk on Water crew. So just saying.
Jesus Christ and Chris Angel.
And Chris Angel.
And those lizards named after Jesus Christ.
And Simon, in no particular order.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a duo. It's a 1A, 1B situation we got going on here.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about a lot of these hypotheticals is that one of the things I always have to ask myself is, are people going to ask me to help with things? Which that can be kind of a buzzkill. You know what I mean? Like people see you and they're like, oh, superhero, like you have to be the guy that goes down into the flooded mine to save people, or like,
yeah,
we need
will
you to
go save my child.
Yeah, I'm like
from the pool.
My child's
like, hold my Hawaiian punch.
Another one. Yeah, exactly, dude. So I don't know. So, but the thing is,
my cousin has this story where he was in Ireland studying abroad, and he was walking across a little bridge in like a village in Ireland, and there was a child in the brook under the water, and he takes his shirt off. This like 6'3", like kind of chubby American dude jumps in, grabs the kid out, and it's a small town, so everybody like treated him as a hero. Like it was a town that had like the local pub. Right. And he shows up right after, and he's the town hero for jumping in and saving the child. He said so much so that when he started drying off, he went to the bathroom and re-splashed himself with water so people would keep recognizing him as the one who saved the kid.
Oh my God.
He went to the bathroom sink and put more water on himself.
Just so wet.
Milking that, dude.
You're the hero. You didn't even need to breathe underwater.
That's
that guy
timely. That's timely because yesterday a car drove into the inner harbor here in Baltimore.
That's not good.
No, so Maria was showing me like it was a the aerial shot of this car just in the water, and apparently someone had to jump in to go get them, like not a EMS person or not like a firefighter or any, just a restaurant worker jumped in the water to like grab this person out of the water. And I'm just sitting there like, if my dog went in that water, I'm in there in a heartbeat, not thinking about it. If there's a stranger in that water, I'm probably jumping in, but oh man, that's a choice still.
Yeah, that's, you know. The dogs. If it's somebody else's dog, I'm jumping in.
If it's not disgusting water, like next to the in the inner harbor, then I'm jumping in. I'm fine. I can go. You know, I'm a decent swimmer. I'll go help someone. But that's poo water out there.
Like if it's
legit poo water.
If it's Boston, yeah. If it's Boston, I'll jump in. If it's like the beach, but if it's the Charles River, I'm sorry. Too gross.
Would you guys jump in and save them in poo water?
I like to think I would, but
that's what I'm saying. Like in my mind, oh yeah, totally the guy to save them. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh.
Depends how many other people
probably still do it.
Like, if I look around and I'm definitely the best candidate, like if it's me and a bunch of old ladies, then I'm going. You know what I mean? But I'm also, but
if Coop sees like a bodybuilder, two people down, he's just gonna cross his arms and peek over at him and be like,
I mean, at the very least, if I'm there, if I'm there and it's the three of us and a bunch of old ladies having brunch, then I'm saying let's go. And I'm like, and we're all going. Yeah, I'm like, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? I'm looking around. I'm finding the other big dude because I'm not gonna let this person drown me. I don't know if this person can swim.
One less Patriots, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I'm not.
That's what I'm saying.
Hal said, "Heroes or death boys."
Heroes or death boys.
I'm just saying,
I think
you know what?
One of two things would happen. I would either immediately be in the water or immediately be a mile away. And I'm not sure what would happen in the moment, but my brain would pick one and you would have never seen me move so fast in one direction or the other. The most helpful direction or the least helpful direction.
I'm more
of just sitting there with all his old ladies like, where's Simon?
Come on!
I'm more of a task leader though. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, I'll set up command here.
He's project managing.
I'm like, you two old ladies, you get in the water. Right. We'll set up a little triage tent over here. Right. You know, so yeah, I'm more of a behind the scenes type guy.
That being said, if you could breathe underwater in this very specific scenario, it would be helpful for being the restaurant worker who saved the people from the car that drove to the Baltimore Harbor yesterday.
But then you're breathing poo water.
Yeah.
Even if you can breathe that water, it's going through your gills.
But I would just walk over there and get him. With the other one, you know what I mean? Like you just walk right out. I just run right out there, you know.
Just getting dirty.
Reach a hand down.
The visual of someone like resting on top of the water and then sticking their hand below them is a really weird one, isn't it? Like where there's enough surface tension to hold them, but they can break it and reach under and grab
like their
them.
fingers. Yeah.
Wouldn't be a dry eye in the house. Those old ladies, dude, fired up. I think
so. Back to the hypothetical.
I mean, I think that we've pretty much come to the conclusion. You look so much cooler saving somebody by walking across the top of the water. 100%. And in fact, I'm thinking of all the cool things you could do. Like, dude, people be out there surfing, and I'd be out there just in like a pair of Air Forces, just like, you know, just
Heelys,
dude. Yeah,
heeling across
just
the
like,
water.
Yeah,
over the waves,
grinding on the top of the wave, dude. Just like, look at me now.
That being said, I'm taking the other one. I want everyone to just go back to the movie theaters in 2011. You're sitting there watching the opening credits for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
Of course.
Cuts to Percy Jackson sitting underwater in a swimming pool. His life is chaos. He's getting bullied at school. His mom's new husband is terrible, but he finds peace underwater. He doesn't know why he finds so much peace under there. For him, it's because Poseidon's his father. But for me, it's going to be because I can breathe and it's quiet and my phone doesn't work down there. So I'm going to breathe underwater and just use it as a place of reprieve, sanctuary, therapy, relaxation, meditation.
So Jay was right, basically, is you just do the same as your shower.
It's the shower. It is literally
it's just a more wet shower.
It's wetter.
Just get
and a little quieter.
Get a snorkel, bro. Get scuba.
Snorkel.
Get scuba. Snorkel. Just get scuba equipment. Like I'll walk on water and also be scuba certified, and then I can do it all.
Just wait till you don't have your scuba gear.
And I just use my magic.
And Coop's
water
gonna be running
wand.
the water. You wish you could do this as I fly by on a jet ski. I can sit on top of the water too.
It's like a hybrid underwater, overwater jet ski.
If scuba gear counts, jet ski counts.
Yeah. The very first thing I'm doing is I'm walking out onto the water and I'm saying, hey, by the way, guys, I'm the hero and there's a villain out there. He's got long hair and he can breathe underwater. And I'm immediately establishing that I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy. That's the first day stuff.
Step
and then,
one.
and then my shark friend comes up from underwater and eats you.
Yeah, that's exactly what the villain would do. That's exactly what the villain would do.
It's like food, not friends.
That's such a villain. You would embrace your villain right away and just join the sharks.
Maybe I'm just misunderstood.
And then after I'm eaten by
Maybe
the shark, you'd be like,
misunderstood.
by the way, he was the bad guy. You would throw me under the bus.
Exactly.
Pretty smart plan. I'll give you that.
All right. Well done, guys. Let's get into our next hypothetically prompt. Would you rather have the power to control the weather or the ability to control other people's emotions?
Oh my God. They'd both be hilarious. Just like, I do kind of have the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, to a degree, controlling the weather, you could just like make an entire city depressed, right?
Yeah.
You could just make it gray eternally, like turn it into Cleveland in the winter,
Or
all the time.
Or Seattle.
Like your enemy, you just always have it be hailing or
Like
something.
wherever they live, it's always like a little bit warm. It's like 78, cloudy, 85% humidity, and drizzling.
There's a surprise tornado coming.
And then once every 2 weeks, there's a tornado, just to mess with them all the time.
You could get out of everything. You could get out of everything, bro. You would never have to do anything, bro.
In both scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, dude, 100%. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
one just requires manipulation.
How easy would it be to put the power out? It would not be difficult. Yeah.
At some point, they're gonna catch on. They're gonna be like, dude, it's weird. Every single morning at 6:50 a.m., the power goes out. What's going on?
Just imagine like sitting in class about to take a test, and you look out the window and you just see a tornado come and directly hit a power line and then disappear. Oh man.
I'm using it for even more petty stuff, dude. Like every time Chris Sale got up to like 80 pitches in only like 3 innings, it would just be like, game's canceled.
Rain. Postponed.
Well, and then we're gonna have inclement weather for how long does it take for him to get 6 days, and then he'll get back on the mound, right? Like
You get so mad that they have domes. Anytime they use domes against you, you're like, ah.
Dude, they will just continue to find ways to cram seats into Fenway Park before they build a dome or build any sort of new park. They're just like, you sit up on this monster. You sit up on this billboard. Like they're just slamming seats in there without making it any bigger or better.
They harness you to the foul poles is going to be the next thing that they start doing.
The new foul pole seats. Like I would not.
It's like on the bungee jump ropes, just dangling from the top. You just see fans bouncing up and down the entire game.
But eventually they just stop bouncing. They're just hanging.
You're just strapped in.
Just dangling.
The ball's coming at you, and you like lean your head over to make sure it hits the foul pole, and you clonks you in the head, and everyone's like, "Yeah!"
And you're like, "Yeah!"
Yeah.
Your Beelzebub.
No, now you're knocked out, and your lit body's just bouncing up and down on the foul pole in the outfield.
All the fans are at the bottom shaking the pole, and you're just like,
They have some sort of like how they like raise flags at the school. They got one of those things. Just pull you up.
It sends you up, dude. They forget to bring you down at the end of the game. Yeah.
Did we ever bring Jerry down?
Oh man, you'd be so
I don't know. I don't remember. I have no memory of it.
I am now just imagining all the like if a stadium just went balls to the wall with putting funny seats up. I like how suspended over the field, like suspension bridge style, but it's just or like the construction workers with their lunch pails sitting on the beams. He's got metal beams. There's a bunch of fans sitting up there kicking their legs, dangling over, looking down at the field.
That'd be kind of
whoa, and then everyone catches them. Oh, that was a close one.
Oh, dude, what? I never thought of that for like domes. What if they did have things where they just like strapped you in and you were looking straight down the game?
Dude, what would the concession people that walk around? What would that be like in that scenario?
They would be drones.
They're up there. Whoa. Whoa!
They're trapeze artists.
Some
the trapeze. They've got
lemonade.
I interest you in anything. Would you like oranges?
That sounds really safe, actually.
Yeah, this is a great idea.
Savannah Bananas taking notes. Next season, they're gonna have suspension held seats.
That's like the Sandlot in reverse.
Yeah, that's an easy A's thing.
Oh, you did change you can change your YouTube name. Look at that.
Yeah, good. You get to change your Google name, I think. Dustin said, how small of an area can I control the weather in? Can I make it rain just on the opposing team's sideline, or are they just super wet and cold while sitting there?
Ooh.
It's not incredibly refined, I'll say, in either case. So controlling the weather is like generic, similar like you open your weather app. I can change the weather in Baltimore or maybe a part of Baltimore, but it's not so granular. I can like pick a small area to do it. In the same way you can't like orchestrate people's emotions. You can just influence.
And again, we run into the same problem that we run into with a lot of these. If you want to be very careful with how you're doing the weather influencing thing, because when people find out that you can do that, we've run into this with so many of these hypotheticals.
They're going to ask you to do stuff.
The government's going to put a bag over your head and throw you in a van the moment they know that you can control the weather, right? And they're just going to have you.
And then you're going to bring an absolute hailstorm, chaos when they try to transport you anywhere.
But they're going to be just like have you in a cage and like poke you with a stick. Like it's going to be sunny for the Olympics, right? Like, so
they just use it as a glorified weather channel.
Yeah.
All roads for Coop lead back to the Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel is pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. So what was the other? I didn't remember what the other one was. Being a foul pole in baseball. What was the other option?
Ability to control other people's emotions.
And as you just described the weather and emotions limitations, it made me think of a very specific power from a book I've read. I don't know if you guys have ever read any of the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, but it's this fantasy series. And the whole premise is that there are people that can basically consume metals and then burn them for some sort of magical effect. And most people can only burn one, and different metals have different effects. But the effect for zinc, the people who burn zinc in this series are called rioters because they have the ability to inflame the emotions of those nearby. It can be used to incite riots or to enhance any emotion of the target. So they can affect a single person or all of the individuals in a particular area, but they don't necessarily have like direct control. They're not saying like you are sad, you are happy. Like if this person's sad, they can inflame that sadness. They can increase the happiness. Like they can just influence the emotions of others around them.
So they just like eat some zinc and they're like, so what are you zinking about?
Exactly.
I
see you've read the books.
Yeah. So, what are you thinking about?
That was the sequel.
And then once they tell you, they're just like, it gets even crazier.
Exactly like that, word for word.
Adventure ensues.
I am excited. Does somebody own the movie rights to these? Because that sounds kind of.
It's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Do they really have it?
Every movie.
Do they? Yeah, they have everything.
They got it all. Every good thing, anyway. Any good story.
It does sound kind of sick, though, dude.
It's sick. It's one of the coolest magic systems I've ever. I just barely scratched the surface. If you're interested in cool magic systems or fantasy novels, check it out.
Tim said you can control vibes with music anyway. I'm making it aggressively cold directly around people who love the cold. Got him.
So spiteful, dude.
It's just
well, I can control the weather. Just whenever I need it to rain, I stand outside with my hose to put all that extra water into the atmosphere. I'll do it for an hour, and then it rains the next day. Science.
I'm ready. I'm ready to vote.
All right.
So for me personally, Simon, go ahead. For me personally, I'd like to hear what Simon has to say.
I just forgot both options.
See what you did, JL? You should have just let me go, dude.
My problem with
sorry, it was a joke that just derailed the entire conversation.
Well, here's where we are. The reason I got confused is the influence emotions one seems more powerful, but also seems like it comes with way more responsibility and moral obligation to use it properly. Like the influencing the weather, like, yeah, I could really ruin things, but it seems pretty easy not to destroy a town with a tornado. Know what I mean? Like the decisions that are going to really negatively affect people hard are ones that I feel pretty comfortable that I won't make. With the emotions one, like I'm in an argument and getting them incited a little bit more would help my case, like I might make that slightly immoral decision to push it. Know what I mean? In a sales call, like it's going well, you can see a bit of happiness.
Slippery
You can
slope.
eke in there and get that happiness up there. Like I don't trust that my morals are strong enough not to take the little advantages that come with controlling emotions. I trust that I could find that line with the weather a little bit more. So I think I'm going to take the weather because there's power in it. It's cool. I'm literally a superhero. And I don't have to worry about like the moral conundrum of those small micro decisions.
Oh, my immediate thought is how many evil micro decisions can I make? Like my first thought was like, oh great, now I can just give shitty gifts for the rest of my life and just be like, what do you think? And they're just like, oh, I love it. I love this. Yeah, what is this?
And they're like, oh my god, I love it.
Oh, I needed a pencil sharpener. I needed a pencil sharpener so bad, and it wears off, and they're like, why did I like this so much?
Why the heck did I have? I have so many pencil sharpeners?
But the thing is, I already have.
Goes too far and then immediately drive to Target and buy 30 more pencil sharpeners because they love it so much.
And there is a trickle down effect.
I love pencil sharpeners.
You fundamentally rewrite their own identity.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's all part of it.
They leave their family and just go into the pencil sharpening trade.
Right.
Deep into the subreddits.
I guarantee you there's a subreddit for pencil sharpeners. Like there's a subreddit for everything. There's probably multiple. But the thing is, I already have the ability to control people's emotions. All I have to do is tweet that I like Michael Thomas, and it makes everybody very upset, as I've learned this past week. So anger is an easy one for me to conjure.
Yeah, my sister called me about that, Coop, when she was not happy.
So pissed. Yeah, I know.
You're really pissed.
Everybody's pretty mad. They're still mad. But so what I would go with the weather one, and I honestly I wouldn't have too big of plans for it. I would just if I felt like it, I would just go on my 3 Seasons porch and pour myself, a nice bourbon, and then I would throw on a little light rain and just kind of enjoy the evening.
I did not find a pencil sharpener subreddit, but I found the pencil subreddit and the pencil sharpener thread, and God, they're beautiful. Just
don't get out of there, Simon. Get out of there.
Ones they're looking at.
Oh no!
I felt such a strong urge to open that.
We're losing them.
Okay, I closed it out, but I did bookmark the tab, and I will be purchasing one of those.
I was this close to immediately going to my browser to look at it. Yeah. and the Coop said that, and I was like, oh.
Careful.
I love a super high quality niche and rarely used object. Like a high quality pencil sharpener. Mess me up. That's exactly what I want.
A fountain pen meme came across my timeline because you got me subscribed, and I immediately thought of you, Simon. The meme was this guy with this picture of all these fancy pens, and they're like, "Oh, you must be rich," and he goes, "No. I just make terrible decisions."
Me in college, literally eating tortillas with salt on them because I had no money, walking around with $850 of pens every day.
That was my first thought. I was like, that's 100% Simon. Like, oh, you must be rich.
I blew my entire food budget for a semester on pens, and it was like, and here we are. This is the decision.
This is who we are.
So that being said, in this hypothetically, I'm controlling the weather.
Yeah, I'm going weather as well.
Well, guys, that is going to be it for hypothetically. Coming up, we got our friend Eric Moody of ESPN joining the show to help us figure out the best NFL nickname in our NFL nicknames bracket. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Bettor Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
No way you know.
and Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14,
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
Oh my God.
was on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16, hold on.
Oh.
16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17, now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. Yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had two people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Bettor Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Bettor Sports Network. We are about to determine the best beans and the best NFL nickname. And here to help us, we have our great friend, Eric Moody. For those of you that don't know Moody, come on.
Come on.
And also, check him out on Twitter at Eric N. Moody. He is a writer and analyst for ESPN covering the NFL, the NBA, and WNBA. And Moody, as always, excited to hang out with you, my friend.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. Good morning. Hopefully everyone's fully caffeinated, ready to rock and roll. So I thought this topic was unique. I love NFL nicknames. They've been a ton of great nicknames, especially some of the old school ones. So looking forward to it.
Moody, let's go. And the thing is, with 8 spots, there's no way we could have put every single thing in there. So guys, throw out your favorite ones in the chat, and feel free to yell at us if we forgot some, because that's also a big part of the fun.
It's going to be a mix of old and new on there. We got some old nicknames, some new school nicknames, and we're going to determine which one comes out on top. Moody, before we get into that, though, I did want to get your opinion on this Elijah Moore to the Browns trade. We talked a little bit about it at the beginning. A second-round pick, really swapping second and thirds to get Elijah Moore over there. Do you think he's going to make some noise in a new situation? He has the draft capital and the talent, it seems like.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I do think he'll make some noise with Cleveland. Here's what a lot of people forget, just from looking at responses like on Twitter and different things, is that you look at Elijah Moore with how he performed. It was back during the 2021 season, where he had like a window, like a 6 to 7 week window where he performed very, very well. Last season, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. I'm like, he was not in the best place, we'll say, with the organization, and he clearly wasn't a part of their future plans, which resulted in the trade. But he's going to be catching passes from Deshaun Watson and also playing alongside Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones. But I think the most important takeaway is that a lot of people are kind of have this reaction. Well, Deshaun Watson was horrible last year. He wasn't the greatest, but look at it this way. He was away from football for so long. He's going to have a full NFL offseason to kind of hone his craft even more and improve. So I think we'll see a different Deshaun Watson this year and a different Browns offense. And that's obviously going to benefit Elijah Moore.
Yeah, and I want you make such a great point with the away from football thing, because it's if you're injured, you can hang out. You can be in the meetings. You can be in there talking to the coaches, hanging out with the players. I mean, heck, you can be out there with a cast on, just throwing balls or whatever. Like, he was not allowed to be anywhere near them.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
He really straight up had to show. I mean, I'm sure they had some covert ways to like talk. You know what I mean? I know they figured they had walkie talkies set to a specific channel or something. I don't know, but I'm sure they had ways to talk. But he, in theory, he had to just show up and then and then go right from there. So it's going to be way different. I agree.
I'm
Way different.
imagining them doing the football meetings with him in their Club Penguin igloo. Like they're like, okay, everyone meet at my igloo.
Just through like the text chat.
Yeah, just meet at my igloo, and then you just see the little speech bubbles popping up. The hats change. One of them starts throwing snowballs.
Okay, when you see this formation, do this.
Right,
Stefanski, focus.
This one penguin walks in and it's just absolutely yoked, and then that's David Njoku. Just this one penguin that's in the corner that's massive,
ripped.
He's not wearing a shirt, right?
Well, guys, we're going to get into our bracket here. The 8 nicknames that we are going to be talking about today. We got Megatron, Calvin Johnson, the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, the Refrigerator, William Perry, Night Train, Dick Lane. We got Deion Sanders, aka Prime Time. We've got the Sheriff himself, Peyton Manning, the Bus, Jerome Bettis, and then the Minister of Defense, Reggie White himself. These are the 8 nicknames we're rolling with. 8 great ones. There's 100 more great ones that got left off, so we know them. Throw them in the chat, but these are the 8 that we're voting on. And Moody, we're going to start you off with the very first vote. We've got Calvin Johnson, a.k.a. Megatron, going up against the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill. Which of these nicknames is moving on to the second round?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a nostalgia guy, so I got to go with Megatron here. You immediately think about Transformers, but then you think about just how dominant Calvin Johnson was, especially in his prime, which is essentially his entire career. Hate that guy retired so soon, but it's tough for me to not move Megatron past Cheetah. Cheetah's a great nickname, fast animal, but come on, Transformers, Megatron, you can't top that.
One vote for Megatron. Coop, you agreeing with Moody here? Or are you going for the Cheetah?
Yeah, so Moody hit it on the head, and I got to give extra points to this part of it. Is that with a nickname like Cheetah, all you really got to do is be fast to live up to the nickname.
It's
right?
really not that far of a logical lead. It's not the cleverest.
Right. And you don't even have to be that good. Like you're still fast, so Cheetah still applies. Like Megatron is such a high bar to set, like just to be an absolute like otherworldly large and dominating figure. And Calvin Johnson, like we basically, because that was his nickname from the start, from like college, like as he was a prospect, and we gave him this giant coat to wear, and he fit perfectly into it. Like he is and was Megatron, man. So Megatron for me.
2 votes for Megatron. JL, you agreeing with these guys? Is Megatron getting your vote, or are you going with the Cheetah?
Megatron is interesting because they chose a villain on top of this, or an antagonist, which I think is just like is also another element to like the creativity of this. We're like Cheetah, it's just like, okay, my 5-year-old nephew probably could have made that connection, or Jonathan Gannon, could have gotten that one. But Megatron, like that's a statement. That is a statement you're making, and I like it. So yeah, Megatron. It's moving on.
There's also a Transformer named Cheetah too, and it's not as cool.
Yeah, like they didn't go with Bumblebee. That doesn't sound as good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what a way more clever fast guy nickname would be, but all the ones I'm thinking of are just other fast things, so they're equally as derivative as Cheetah. But I'm going with Megatron here. Make it a clean sweep. That is just what a sick nickname. And Jalen and Coop, you guys kind of made the point tag team there. You got to fill the shoes of your nickname. It's Danny Dimes kind of fell off because he wasn't throwing dimes. You know what I mean? People stopped saying dimes legitimately and started saying it ironically. There's a reason we're not talking about that. If Danny Dimes was dropping dimes, having 50 touchdown seasons, we'd probably be saying Danny Dimes all the freaking time. Megatron is only Megatron first and foremost because he filled the shoes of a name like Megatron. So I know it's a nickname bracket, but the power behind that nickname gets a little extra juice there. Clean sweep for Megatron.
Yeah,
Jason, the fact that Megatron is the nostalgia pick makes me feel so old.
Yeah. There were some names that, obvious ones that we left out, but we left out ones that were like became the person's actual name, because then it's not quite a nickname. Like Champ Bailey, his name's not Champ, but like still, right? Like, or like Big Ben is another one where it's like, he is Big Ben, and I guess it's a good nickname, but still, Like,
I kind of forgot about Champ
He
Bailey.
just added an adjective to his first name.
right. Yeah. There's a few others that I thought of where it's like Cadillac Williams. I mean, like, I don't even know what Cadillac Williams' first name is. Do you guys?
Cadillac?
It's not Cadillac.
I'm pretty
I can
sure.
tell you that. I can tell you that it's not actually Cadillac.
Well,
I
guys,
have no
we're-
idea.
We're
So
moving
it's
on
like-
to our second round matchup here. Coop, you have the first vote. We have William Perry, the refrigerator, versus Dick Lane, Night Train. Where is your vote going?
Yeah. So this one, I got. So it's not. He isn't really good. It's not like Dick Lane Night Train. It's Dick Night Train Lane. That's how they would say that one. And he got that name because he used to work as like a factory worker during the day, and then just like go and join the team. Like this was that long ago. But this guy was nasty, man. Like he was the. I mean, he's like synonymous with interceptions. I think he still has the record for most interceptions in a season. So Dick Night Train Lane is an amazing nickname, but there's something about the fridge that is just so awesome. Especially, yeah, it is. It is iconic, and we put two iconic ones up against each other, which makes it so tough. But the fact that the fridge was a defensive player and they would just throw him on offense and hand him like 1 yard rumbling, bumbling, stumbling touchdowns has to make it so I have to pick the fridge. Dick Night Train Lane is such an amazing nickname that it sucks that I have to put him aside and pick the fridge here.
One vote for the fridge. John Luke, you got the second vote here.
Yeah, the fridge is just such an epic name because it doesn't seem menacing until it's put into this context. Right? Like the refrigerator is not like intimidating in pretty much any other context
Until it's
except
going
to
to
this
tackle
one.
you.
until it describes a man whose only job is to just wreck people.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fridge is absolutely iconic. But I'm gonna go with Dick the Night Train Lane because I am a sucker for a nickname that goes into like just flows with your name. It's so different.
It's so
when you
good,
can say Dick Night Train Lane.
I might switch my vote to Dick Night Train Lane. I'm leaving it on the fridge.
It never sounds cool.
It never not sounds cool. Yeah, but I'll leave it. I'm leaving it on the fridge for now.
We got one vote either way. The fridge, one vote for the fridge, one vote for Dick Night Train Lane. And we kind of took points away from Tyreek Hill for having Cheetah be relatively derivative. Like he's fast. Let's pick a fast animal. Fridge is probably equally as derivative. He's big. Let's pick a big thing. That being said,
is that the
the
first big thing you pick up?
the simpleness of it, just like the only connection being he's as big as a fridge, is incredible. It communicates the point perfectly. Like exactly what you're trying to get across has gotten across. I gotta vote for the fridge here. And I've seen that man in person. It's a big fridge. It's not an exaggeration of the man, it's an exaggeration of the fridge size.
This is like Jim Brown, they called like the bulldozer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like how they pick like for the fridge, it's like they pick like an item that is kind of close to his actual size.
Yeah. It doesn't
It's like
move
not
that.
ridiculous. They didn't call him like the Eiffel Tower or something.
I think the another great part is that like it's not like his name is like Fred the Fridge or anything that goes together at all. His name's William Perry. They had to go out of their way to get the fridge, right? Yeah.
Sounds way too friendly.
Right.
They found it. Well,
They
it's
found
2-1, 2 votes for the fridge, 1 vote for Night Train. Moody, you got the last vote here. Where are you going?
Yeah, I've got to go. I got to go with the refrigerator here. It's just such an epic nickname. We all remember seeing like the little music videos and the songs, from that Bears team, and everyone kind of mentioned this. How can you look at William Perry and think anything but the refrigerator? But you got to give his brother some credit, Michael Dean Perry, who went by the Icebox. So you got to love it.
Yes, dude. That's
The
I didn't know. I
refrigerator
never
gets
knew
my
that. I never knew that, dude. That's so cool. The Icebox.
Icebox.
Got an icebox where my heart used to be. Dustin in here said Honey Badger and Muscle Hamster could have been on the list. Would have been a great first round matchup. The hamster versus the Badger.
I didn't even think about the muscle hamster.
And this is kind of the throwback category here, the fridge versus Night Train Lane. So I want to also give a shout out to just an awesome nickname that did make the cut. Ed Too Tall Jones is such a good nickname. Too Tall.
That's a good one.
Ed Too Tall Jones. But I mean, going up against Night Train or Fridge, he would have got destroyed.
Didn't stand a chance.
No,
we got our third matchup here. Third matchup of the first round. Prime time. Deion Sanders, head coach at Colorado now, is the first one versus. Wait, what's up?
Was the last one 2-2?
No.
Moody voted for the Fridge.
Yeah. Honestly,
all three of you voted for the Fridge.
Yeah.
And if anyone had gotten 2 votes, I would have been the tiebreaker because I like them both. So since Fridge got 2, I'm staying on that.
I'm just making sure the chat didn't get stiffed on that one.
No.
I remember the poll like later on.
The chat will get their chance.
They'll get it. Well,
Sorry, continue.
We got prime time. Deion Sanders going up against the Sheriff, Peyton Manning, John Luke. Where's your vote going? Is it going to the Sheriff or is it going to prime time?
Prime time or the Sheriff? The Sheriff or Peyton Manning? That's a dumb nickname. That's so
really
dumb.
is.
That's so dumb.
Really.
Again, it just requires like very little thought for them to have gotten to the Sheriff. Prime time, I don't think is like the pinnacle of creativity either, but it's better than the Sheriff. It's definitely better than the Sheriff. I gotta go prime time.
I don't even know why he is the Sheriff.
Gruden gave him that nickname, saying that he lays down the law in opposing team stadiums.
That makes it so much worse.
That makes it so much worse.
That's like awful, dude. We should swap. It's too late to swap it out. But Jay makes a great point, and I was petitioning for the same thing. That Sweetness, Walter Payton's nickname, might have been the one over the Sheriff. But Sheriff is in there. We got to vote.
Well, with the Sheriff going up against primetime, the one good thing you have going for you with the Sheriff is the costuming that you can play with. Know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much Peyton Manning has done it, but very few nicknames lend themselves to props as easily as the Sheriff, right? Like, you get a little plastic sheriff badge, maybe a little toy gun, a cowboy hat. Like, you could really play that up pretty easily. But I got 2 words for you on this one. I'm coming. Primetime is winning this one, baby. That was all Deion Sanders said at his introductory press conference there in Colorado. I'm taking primetime. That nickname says something, right? It says something about who you are, and it says something about who you think you are, and then you better show up to prove it. And Deion Sanders, the man talks, but he also shows up in place. He never once didn't back up that nickname primetime. So, Moody, we got 2-0 on the primetime side here. Are you giving another vote to primetime, or are you rolling with the Sheriff?
Yeah, I agree with John Luke here. It's like the Sheriff. I'm like, they could have come up with a much better nickname for Peyton Manning, considering all the statistical accolades. There you go. Accolades that
the billboard.
Had, I'm not the biggest fan of prime time, but hey, we're gonna go with prime time here. I was thinking about Deion Sanders, and he always had a flair for the big stage, so the prime time nickname seems perfect. I'm like, he was even like dramatic with the way that he would speak, and then in press conferences and just everything. So you got to go with primetime here.
3 primetime votes. Coop, you making it a sweep, or are you giving some love to the Sheriff?
No, the Sheriff's so dumb. And you said that you could like dress it up or whatever. I searched Peyton Manning the Sheriff on images, and like one of the first things that comes up is just his stupid face pasted over Woody from Toy Story, it makes it even worse. So since
we got to stop looking up information on this name, because you're right, it does get
worse
worse everything we learn.
Yeah, since we're going prime time, I just want to rehash a really, really quick story of one of the most prime time things ever. Was he was in the year he was drafted, he was like meeting with different teams, and he met with the Giants, and they sat down in front of him this big book that was a test that he was supposed to take. So you're supposed to go through and read this book and like do this test. And he goes, "What pick do you guys have?" And they were like, "I don't know, we got like pick 14." And he just gets up and goes, "I'm gonna be gone by then. Thanks anyway, fellas." And just walks out, says, "I'm not doing this test." And then he gets picked at 5 overall. So he was it didn't matter anyway. But he was
Josh Rosen tried the same.
He's got to do the voice. He should do the voice, right?
Should
the Deion voice, like what are you saying that he said? Like what like what pick do I have?
What pick y'all have?
What What pick do you have?
What pick do you have? What pick do you have? That is good, dude.
Even the hand.
That
the
is
hand
exactly
gesture.
how he did it.
Oh my God, Moody just whipping out a
Nailed
perfect
that.
primetime
That's
impression in
good,
the middle
dude.
of it.
I thought you said you weren't a big primetime fan.
It's
guys-
just, you got it. There, we're going to get down the rabbit hole. Go ahead.
We're moving on to our next round of matchup. I've got the first vote on this one. It is the bus, Jerome Bettis versus the Minister of Defense,
So good.
Reggie White. Man, this one's tough. The bus is a classic nickname. Like, it is just absolutely classic. Whenever you hear someone name the bus, you got a general idea of who they are, what they're selling, what they're throwing down. And Bettis lived up to it. That being said, a complex nickname, a multi-word nickname, one that takes that extra thought. It's difficult to have hit and land. I got to go with the Minister of Defense here. The Minister of Defense just kind of rolls off the tongue. It's got a magical aura to it. And it's one of the complex nicknames that stuck. You got a multi-word defense or a multi-word nickname that people are perfectly fine rolling with. So my vote goes to Reggie White. Moody, where's your vote going?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Reggie White here. It's just such an iconic nickname. And I never was a big fan of like the nickname The Bus. It just never really resonated with me. So I'm going with Reggie White here.
Moody hates buses. Coop, where's your vote going?
I have to say that, like, one of the things that makes the Minister of Defense so perfect is that not only is, like, you know, that like a title that you would give to anybody in defense or whatever, but he actually was like a part-time minister. Like, when he was at Tennessee, he joined the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and he was like very religious. So the nickname has multi levels. That said, the bus is a dope nickname, especially for a guy that just runs you right over and gets that yard when all there is in the world is that 1 yard, and he's the guy that would get it every time. So I got to go with the bus here, if only because the bus needs one vote at least.
One vote for the bus. John Luke, are you making this a tie, or are you giving it to the Minister of Defense?
The Minister of Defense is going to win this one. The cleverness of it, the fact that it really shouldn't land as a nickname, but it does. I respect that.
And it's a lot, and it still works. But yeah, like I said, we needed to get that vote on the bus. I think it was an important vote, but Minister of Defense should move on, and is moving on.
We have our semifinals matchups ready now. Megatron, the Refrigerator, and Primetime and the Minister of Defense. Moody, we're back to you with the first vote in this first semifinal matchup. Megatron versus the Refrigerator. William the Fridge Perry or Calvin Johnson? Who's it going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to go Calvin Johnson here. And I don't know if it's because I just grew up watching Calvin Johnson, his entire career, but it's just such an iconic nickname, and he was so dominant whenever he was on the field. I just got to go with Megatron here.
One vote for Megatron. Coop, what are you feeling?
The thing is, like, I would have immediately voted Megatron, but Moody in the first round just like painted the picture, and now I just can't stop seeing the Fridge's smiling face. Like, the way he smiles, it just, like, you see his face and you're like, oh, that's the Fridge. You know what I mean? Like, dude. But I got Megatron is just so cool. That is such a cool nickname. I have to pick that. But shout out Refrigerator. If you want to smile yourself, search the Fridge Perry on Google Images and get a good chuckle, man, because he was a happy dude.
2 votes for the Fridge. John Luke, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm.
Oh wait, no, 2 votes for Megatron.
I was gonna say, I didn't
2
Coop
votes
just
for
go
the
Megatron?
Megatron.
I went Megatron, yeah.
And Moody also went Megatron.
That threw me off because I'm actually going to go on the other side of this. I'm going to go with the Fridge. I'm going to go with the Fridge because it's so unintimidating that it's intimidating, and it works. Where Megatron is like on the nose, like, yeah, of course it's intimidating. It's the bad guy in the movie. I got a fridge in my kitchen. I ain't scared.
I actually love my Fridge.
I love my Fridge.
Real good friends with my Fridge. Yeah.
1 vote for the Fridge, 2 for Megatron. When I ordered my autographed William Perry jersey, I genuinely went back online and checked the order to see if the picture said the Fridge on the back of it, because I could have sworn the jersey was going to show up saying the Fridge. Like, I was positive that it didn't say Perry on the back whenever I ordered it. Lo and behold, it did say Perry, but his nickname is so synonymous with him as a player that I expected the jersey of his that I bought to show up with his nickname on it, and went back and checked the order when it didn't. I got to vote for the fridge, man. It's simple. It gets the point across. Let's throw it in the chat while we vote on our next one. So while we vote on that other finals, we can figure out the winner of that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yep. Pulls up.
Let's move through.
Well, guys, we got Primetime versus the Minister of Defense. And Coop, you got the first vote. What's it going to be?
I'll make this simple. It's pretty quick. Primetime's cool. Minister of Defense is cool. But is there a dance associated with the Minister of Defense? I rest my case. Primetime and that little primetime dance he would do. That's just iconic for me, man. Give me the primetime. Give me the primetime dance.
Coop wants the PT dance. JL, where are you rolling?
I'm gonna go with Minister of Defense.
I'm following you, JL. It is a badass nickname, Minister of Defense. Shout out Primetime, but
man.
God, it's just like it's official. You're the man, Moody.
Well, you know, Deion Sanders always comes on top. So my vote goes to Primetime.
It is 2-2. We got a double tie in the semifinals.
Oh my God.
John Luke, who came out on top in the other matchup that we had?
Megatron is going to win.
Yep.
Megatron moving on. And then we may not have time to take the chat vote here on this one once it's already rolling in there.
It's not.
Then let's
Keith
go.
can break the tie.
Keith, break the tie for us, quick.
Give us that vote.
Or Earn Dog, whichever one of you guys is awake.
I like the idea of nicknaming things based off of appliances in your house. Like, it's call myself Blu-ray from now on.
Keith came in with prime time. All right, Blu-ray.
I'm the printer because I'm always printing that money.
Printer, you're going last on this one, but Blu-ray's going first. Blu-ray, our championship matchup, Primetime versus Megatron. Who you got?
I gotta go Megatron.
I think I'm gonna roll Primetime. There's something just like it's the word prime. Like there's something like that commands attention in that. Moody, where are you rolling? Primetime or Megatron?
And what's your household appliance nickname?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Megatron and
espresso
household nickname. I was thinking blender. I use the blender a lot. I'll go with that blender. There we go.
He puts you in the blender on the b-ball court.
Puts you in the blender. Get blended.
You say lamp?
Yeah.
All right. So my last vote. Dude, Primetime is so cool and all. Coach Prime, there's a whole mix of it, but dude, there's nothing better than Megatron, baby. Give me Megatron. I'm going Megatron.
Megatron is the winner of our best nickname bracket, then coming out on top of Primetime. Moody, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and help us figure this out today.
No, it's always fun to hop on. Hey, I enjoyed it. And you know what I was thinking? I was like, man, I may have set like a precedence here. They're going to ask me for impersonations on certain people every time I come on here now. So you got to give me some homework for the next time. I'll try to bring one out, but we'll see how it goes. But this was fun, gents.
Absolutely. Well, guys, if you want more of those primetime impressions, head on over to Moody's Twitter at Eric and Moody, and come back on over here tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time, where we got more of the FYF Morning Show goodness. Until then, adios, everyone. Thanks again to Moody, and thanks to everybody.
Thanks everyone who donated on that GoFundMe. Check my Twitter, Coupe Fiasco. Really appreciate it, guys. You guys are the best. Love you guys.